send it out there, it will probably not have the impact that you want it to get. So probably just a comment and for people who will be doing this to think about. But the other thing,
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I intend to do.
Great. Yeah, and I always know it's always it was always a risk talking because and us that have been taken, but I just felt like make mention about. But then the other thing I wanted to talk about is, although I didn't hear you, Mr. Creator, talk about justice. The OPA judgment. I think we should call that. I'm not a lawyer, but I think we should call that decision because what they are doing in those kangaroo courts is not. They are not passing judgment to suppose that there is actually even deliberation and a justice. This is just me. These people are passing decisions or edits, and we should call it the way they are. My language matters. So that's just my 2 cents observation in one of the things that have been going in this matter, where people pretend all this thought and the other.
Thank you, Dr. Edmond. I think we lost you, but I think your message we did get. Before we start, we have one more. We have a hand. Dante, go ahead, unmute yourself.
Yeah, good day, comrades. I want to agree with the previous speaker and to say that why it is important or it is fundamental that we put God forward as Christians and with Muslims. It is also important for us to understand the context at which we use this. I think there is one particular sector which we have ignored for so many years, and it is something that will come back to haunt us because we fail to articulate to our people right down the grassroots why we are involved in this struggle in terms of we fail to highlight the future for them. We fail to show them what will be different rather than what is happening right now. And so I think that every message that goes out should be a revolutionary one which highlights to our people their present predicament and the future that awaits them if we all are in this together. And also to not forget about the oppression from the oppressor. So most often in the atmosphere of this struggle, it's usually the habitual back and forth between different groups or individuals, rather than pinpointing the oppression of the regime, and it has left our people wondering a lot at the future and the resultant rate of this struggle as it is. So I think that it is important that we invest in such communication so that we know that we are one with our people, because there comes a time when if this is not done, there is no difference with us fighting as well as with criminals having arms in their hands. And yeah, that's what I think I wanted to contribute. Also about the issue of the diplomatic or legality of our struggle. I think that also we have spent a lot of time on this, and we still get the same results that we'll be getting from right off of the bank judgment. So it is up to us to right now try to organize in a way proper for our people to be able to make these decisions on how we arrive at our future. in terms of, I'm speaking in terms of grassroots organization, in terms of properly using not just only the new social media means of communications, but also traditional means of communications. There are hardly any written documents out there in terms of essays and so on, which are opinions or factual opinions against La Republic and so on. And we have a lot of bright minds who can do that. I mean, because in this very town hall, you hear about a lot of doctors and so on, people who are learned enough to put their pens down and deliver music that would really help us or change mindsets about this struggle. If we keep just talking and talking all the time, it doesn't go anywhere. I can really highlight the importance of the Harlem Renaissance in the fight against racial segregation in the USA, and how it helped. It's also the same case in the decolonization process in Africa, how so many leaders were able to pen down a lot of essays that really resonated with their people, went out there and really helped to change the narrative. I think that is all I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Dante. What you have said is very true. A lot of what goes on out there, our people don't take the time to ask themselves, what I am doing, what I am engaging, what I am posturing, does it move the needle? If people thought about the effects, if people ask themselves, or if people measured what their efforts and what the time they are investing, the efforts and the message, does it help move the needle? I think we will be in a better place. The problem is people just like to hear themselves and be seen and just go out there and talk just for the sake of talking. But that notwithstanding, those who want to do what they have to do to move the struggle forward, like those of us who gather here, we would continue to gather. We gather because we want to share ideas, and that's why, you know, we put in the time to come here every 2 weeks, because we want to gather ideas and do something. And we would see, we will continue as the town hall, as Hartenon has said, and the message of hope, and let our people see there is something being worked in the background, some visual effects of what will be going out shortly, of the kind of country we are fighting for, the kind of institutions we want to bring back, the kind of discipline we want. So something is going on, and now that SCBC is back on, I think it will be launched very shortly, but I don't want to give away too much because I'm not involved in what they're doing. But I know that there is work being done to bring this positive message to our people on what lies ahead.
Yeah.
Before we begin, Jojo, okay, Hateno, go on, and then Jojo.
Close this chapter.
Do you want to wait for Jojo to say what he has, and then we'll close the chapter and start? Yeah,
sure.
Okay, Jojo, go ahead, and then Hateno will close the chapter. Jojo, are you there?
Yeah, I'm good.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't want to say we cannot emphasize this point, because first of all, we say our movement is not ordained movement, so I think we have to commit to do that. Again, the two places that we try to guide the actions of our people. Yeah, the actions of our people on ground zero, especially storage, practice like and kidnapping. They also suggest that we including as part of the program of the town hall, like after saying the day of silence or prayers, put it as part of that one scripture to encourage everybody. And you remember that lady you said when the prime minister, when Canada was speaking, said the Egyptian students for no more. It's just like that. It was just like the situation of the children in Egypt, where out of Egypt by Moses. So I think that's very, very important to do something along that line. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, Hatenon, do you want to close this and then we move on to the next?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. Why I brought this particular topic up was because some development was going on in Mali, where La République had used one of their surrogates to give the fighters in that area some money to beg them to forgive them for what is happening. But based on experiences from other camps, it turns out that every time you take that money, it's like a vampire scratch. You become a vampire. The money comes. So to cut a long story short, I quickly mobilized all of those fighters and spoke to them. And God is my witness. They all have come into agreement. They are not taking the money. They saw the sense, the reason why they should not take the money. I reminded them that yes, at the beginning of the struggle, we had said, if La République gives you money, take it and use it to fund the struggle. But we have come to realize that any money you get from La République is a sport money. And you will automatically, unconsciously sign that contract to beat their cause. So it has worked. This just happened this past week. It has worked, and I know it will work for our people. Once they get those kind of encouraging messages to them, it will work. Showing them the benefit of staying the course of this struggle, what will become of them once we gain our independence. It's like night and day, black and white. So I close that chapter. Thank you.
Thank you, Hatenon. Before we begin, Prof, you want to make sure that we are streaming properly on Facebook?
Yes, we are. I'm just working on it. We're on Facebook. In fact, let me share. Yes, we are.
All right. I just wanted to make sure we did it right this time. So, can we start by reading the rules?
Yes, I think Miss Joyce is going to.
Mr. Moderator, please, a point of order, please. Please, if there's a possibility, let the Facebook links be posted here so that members of this town can share their people who are out there who may not be chance to be in the meeting and who cannot directly get to Facebook. So please post it in the.
It's on the screen now. It's on the screen.
No, in the chat room also.
Yes, so that people can share it, please.
Okay, we'll do. But it's also on the screen.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Is it Miss Joyce or Comrade Francis who is reading the rules?
I think Miss Joyce has it.
Is she there?
Hello, everybody. Yes, this is Joyce. I have the rules here. Good afternoon, and thank you all for joining. So the rules today are that, as always, we have 10 minutes for each of our guests to make their opening statements. And you can please take notes while anyone is talking so that you can have a summary of the questions and address your questions to the moderator. Please state your name full before asking your questions. Encourage participants to be polite and respectful and to avoid foul language. There must be mutual self-respect in our communications and exchanges. That is the distinct quality of Southern Cameroons and the parliamentary system. After the speakers are through, the moderator will take a number of questions in a specified order. Participants are required to put up their hand and to put it down after they have asked their question. To enable others have a chance, please ask only one question. All microphones shall remain muted when the speaker is on the floor. If someone has asked a question you had in mind, please be courteous enough to yield the chance to someone else to save time. Each speaker has only 1 minute to ask a question, so please make your questions straight and direct to the point. Each speaker has 1 minute to answer a cluster of questions. time that no questions will be taken. At the end of the meeting, there shall be room for people to make observations if there is time. Please, no bullying or insult will be tolerated. Anyone using the chat room abusively will be sent out. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Joyce, and we hope our people have gotten it. And as people come in, we will keep on highlighting those rules so that it becomes everybody is aware of where we stand on those rules. Thank you for reading them. So again, our agenda today would be internationalizing the appalling conditions and abuses of Southern Cameroonian female detainees, revisiting Speaking with One Voice, the Southern Cameroon Crisis paper. We will also see what we can do and the dire situation on ground zero in terms of the needs, feeding, health, legal, and what have you, security of our people. And then we shall also talk about what the civil society network is doing. I would appeal to those who can turn on their cameras, because we are being carried just for the more effective visual communication with those who are online. If you can turn on your cameras, it would help. If you're not in a situation, that's okay, but preferably it would be better to have the cameras turned on. Thank you. So I would call on Prof to go ahead and begin with the first item on today's agenda: internationalizing the appalling conditions and abuses of Southern Cameroonian female detainees. This also is being highlighted as part of our recognition, especially during this International Month of the Women. We thought we've spoken a lot about the men. Let us zoom in on this neglected demographic of our population, and many of whom don't stand up, don't speak for themselves, and don't have a platform to take up their case. We really want to be there for them as Southern Cameroonians, as fathers, brothers, friends, husbands, and whatever relationship you have. So, Prof. Herman and Ms. Joyce, the floor is yours.
Yes, I'll probably yield. I don't know, Ms. Joyce, are you ready to go first?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll let you go first, and I can fill in whenever needed.
Joyce, I don't know where you are, but are you in a position to turn on your camera or not? Sorry, Joyce, I don't know where you are. Are you in a position to turn on your camera or not? If you're not, that's understandable.
Camera, but there's going to be a lot of noise in my background because I have my kids here, but let me try.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so Professor Herman and I spoke with one of my colleagues in Cameroon who is actually working on the cases of the women. But the information we have up to now, it concerns only the women in the Kumba, Boya, and Newell prisons.
Joyce, one moment. Let me mute everybody and then you unmute yourself. There's a lot of interference. Go ahead, unmute yourself.
So I would think that we only have information about the women in Boya, the women in Kumba, and Newell prisons. We're still trying to get information about the women who are incarcerated in Nameda and Yaoundé. So for now, we know for sure that there are about, I'm going to get to the details, we have about 13 and there was 2 minor girls involved. I don't want the noise to interrupt.
Okay.
So we have 2 minors who were in Boya, and the cases came up last week, but because of They were minors. They were charged before the military tribunal for all the previous offenses that we know that the Republic always puts on every who's arrested right now. These two girls are ages 16 and 17 years old, and apparently they were in their home minding their business when the military, in pursuit of one of the amber fighters around their neighborhood, were firing gunshots, and then somebody ran into their house, threatened them, and hid under the bed. And the military pursued that person into their house, arrested the person, and arrested the girls together, and charged them as accomplices. Apparently, they killed that person, but then the girls are being charged as accomplices. But now we have no principal offender. So we wonder how it's possible to charge someone as an accomplice when there's no principal offender. Anyway, these girls, though minors, were charged before the military tribunal in Boya. And it is not constitutional, it is not proper to charge minors, civilians, to a military court without any military co-offender. So they have the military court has no jurisdiction regardless. So our colleague in Kumba, Barrister Pointama, said that he brought the attention of the court to that effect, that they were minors and there was no principal offender and there was no military involved in the crime. So they were transferred to Kumba, and their case is coming up before the court of first instance in Kumba, I think in a week's time. And they are being tried before the court of first instance and as minors as well. So it's a better place for them because their families in Kumba, the offense occurred in Kumba, and they are within their family, so they can take care of them, and easier for the colleague as well who is in Kumba, who is handling the case to go to court. And then we also have the cases of, I'm trying to get their names, so for me we're going between screens. We have about 13 ladies who are in Boya prison. I think 2 of them there have kids. They were pregnant when they were arrested and they are put to bed. In prison they have their kids with them in prison. We have one of them who is pregnant, who was raped by, I don't know if it's the gendarmes or the PA, like 7 men raped her, and she is pregnant and in hospital, in prison as well. And then we have another minor in New York prison, Suna Dorothy, who is pregnant as well. I think she's about 14. But she was arrested because she didn't have her national ID card when she was traveling from Motene to Douala. And then she was charged for terrorism and hostility against the state and whatever. So apparently, any Anglophone arrested for anything right now is charged with secession and insurgency and terrorism and things of offenses of the sort. So she is in New York prison. She has had no access to family or friends. Apparently, she's in isolation as well. But Barrister Pointama said that he met with her in Douala last week while he was in prison, and there is also a camera who is in Douala prison. So there's 2 detainees in New York, 2 female detainees in New York, and then we have 13 in Boya. So we only have one lawyer right now who is representing all of these girls, and he's doing that out of his goodwill. He has no support, he has no logistics, he has no team to help him to prepare for his cases, and it's a little tedious for him. I'm aware that there are other female detainees in Bamenda, but I'm yet to get in contact with my colleague in Bamenda who, because of COVID-related reasons, has not been able to go up there to give me an exact number for fear of getting with the COVID in the prisons and all of that. But we're trying to put together a comprehensive list of all the female detainees in Bamenda prison and in Yaoundé. And I know that there are about 2 lawyers as well who are involved with the ladies in in Bamenda, but I don't know to what extent their involvement was and how they carried about their activities too. So I think next town hall I'll have that information ready to share. So for now, that's what I can say about the clinic and their situation. I didn't talk much about Boya because there's 13 of them and it will take a lot of time to, talk about each person's individual case and the state in which they are. I just highlighted the 2 ladies there who are with their children, who had their children in prison, and one who is currently pregnant, and the pregnancy is a result of the rape of the military men. I don't know if it's the V or the gendarmes, but apparently she was raped by 7 men and she got pregnant and she's in prison still. Thank you.
Thank you, Joy. Sorry.
I think, thank you, Barrister Joyce, for really giving us those details. I think in situations like this, we understand that we are in a confrontation with the Cameroon government when we didn't ask us that. But there are just some things, even in the heart of war, that are just unconscionable. And I think that a glaring case is the case of the female detainees, which Master Judge just listed. There is no reason why a newborn baby should be in custody. There is no reason why 7 members of the armed forces, we don't know which branch, all the way in I cannot really think if it's Aquia or somewhere, would rape a young lady on the way to the market, and for fear of being sorted out, arrest her and bring her all the way to Boya and charge her for secession. And there is no help, nothing. Quite a few of these have actually never had a day in court to even face their charges. Right? So I think the view here is why we fight and argue for the broader. I mean, everybody, the prisoners of conscience should all be released. But there are just some cases that even if the Cameroon government is the devil themselves, they have to agree that there is just no place for this in civilized society. And what we have to think about as both the town hall and as individuals is, how do we highlight these cases to bring attention, and how do we support the legal team to try to get as many of them released as possible. So I don't know if you want to open the floor, Mr. Moderator. I'll throw this back to you if you want to open the floor. Discussion, or how you like us to proceed?
I think we should open it for discussion. That's the whole idea of us being here. Nobody has a silver bullet or a crystal ball to find the answers. I think we would find the answers by sharing and discussing these very, very important issues, and making a commitment that those of us who are here today, based on the information we gather, we shouldn't just leave and go home and call it another day. We should. This to me is as bad as it gets. This to me is something that we include when we make our cases before the international community. This to me is something that could actually turn the tide and be that straw that would finally break the resistance by the international community. When you take a 14-year-old and to a military tribunal and you're raping them consistently, because we can't put anything past the army. Why it is important to expose these things is because if these things are kept secret and it starts getting too hot for them to handle, they will just eliminate these girls. We can't put it past them that if after raping this girl to cover their tracks, they took her all the way to Boy and put her in prison. Maybe if they had thought that it would come to where it is, they may have just eliminated her. I mean, they've shot people younger than her. They've shot babies. You know, they've put bullets in their heads. So what's the... It's just by God's grace that she wasn't raped and killed, for them to hide their tracks. So please let us take this and really do something about our little girls. Some of, I mean, all the ones these cases we are handling are young enough to be daughters of many of us in this town hall meeting. So let's put our daughters' faces on these faceless girls and take it personal. So we'll open it for discussion, and let's see what we can do. Let us focus on what we can do to help. Thank you.
I think Mr. Joyce has something to add.
Yeah, I would like to add that those two ladies who have their kids with them in Boya Central Prison, they're trying to take the kids and place them in an orphanage. That's the report that we have. And they are being, the girls don't want to let that happen. So the question I asked was, why aren't they trying to place the kids with one of the family members of the girl? But I think it's just another weapon which they have, you know, to make the girl move. Take away your child and stop with the child. A trusted family member, they're trying to place the children in the orphanage. So I just had to add that to argue.
So yes, the floor is open. If anybody has any questions or suggestions on how we can handle this or what we should do about our daughters in prison. These rape cases are the ones we know. You know, who knows how many more of them are being raped quietly? You know, if these guards come and take them out of their cells at 2 o'clock in the morning when, you know, half the world is asleep. I mean, who knows what's happening? You know, if 7 of them would rape a 14-year-old, then we can't put past them what is happening to our girls. So Edmond, you have your hand up, and then Jojo, and then Pascal. Edmond, go ahead.
I can't put my hand up.
Okay, go ahead, Dr. Fontaine, then we'll come to the hands that are up. Edmond, sorry, let's give Dr. Fontaine the floor, since he can't put his hand up. Dr. Fontaine, go ahead.
Yes, I just want to say something, just 2 quick things that can illuminate our discussion so that whatever conclusions we arrive at, we bear that in mind. 1, the situation of the prison is usually such that there will always be a section in the prison where they keep those who are sentenced to death. Now, for the most part, that section is usually empty. And so, the section in the prison that is empty is where the guards and the people who work in prison settle their bestial instincts with some of the prisoners or some of the detainees. And in most cases, some of these are women who are either intimidated by what is going on. They believe that someone sleeping with them can help them, or there are some female prison warders who has met a detainee who has money enough to ease himself. So that is usually how the traffic goes. But for this particular case, where our learned sister is saying that the girls' children are trying to take those children away, it means that they are likely to put them in orphanages. There's a tendency that they might want to eliminate their evidence. Because the moment they take those children out of that place, nobody knows where the children are going to end up. And so, in holding this discussion, let us think of what can be done with in the process of internationalization should also include the fate of these children so that their safety can be guaranteed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Fontaine. Let me ask Barrister Joyce. Do we know the names and the ages of these children when they were born, what their names are, so that as Dr. Fontaine says, if these children disappear, we have enough information to alert the international community.
Well, I do have the information, but I can get it anytime because I'm in contact with the lawyer who visits them regularly.
Okay, thank you. If you can get it, it may be difficult to get pictures, but as much information as we can get, where they were born, when the mothers were taken, what hospital, where they issued birth certificates, their names, the date of birth, are the family members aware of these children? Have they even seen them? So that, like Dr. Fontaine says, if these children disappear, we have somewhere to start.
Mr. Moderator, let me just add some color to what he said. Actually, no. In fact, some of the mothers complain the children do not have birth certificates. And so that goes to Dr. Fontaine's point that once, and that was their concern, they are not allowed to get birth certificates or document. Almost literally, the existence of the children is not documented. And once the children leave their care, there will be no tracking the children, and there will be almost no way to reunite, as you said, clearly as a means of getting rid of the evidence. One thing we want to highlight in dealing with this, by the way, most of the family members do not know. And the reason is family members, it's precarious for family members to visit people who have been arrested under the auspices of this problem. Even lawyers going to see them in detention is quite difficult. Some lawyers have been detained just going to try to see clients. You are not allowed to bring anything in if it's a lawyer, and everything you bring, even your single notepad, has to be inspected. Right? So the barrister will usually really have to go through a lot of hurdles. It took close to a month to just be able to get the bare minimum of information and to be able to, for some of them, actually file for appearance. Because most of and I think we'll talk about this later in the day, in the broader picture, that unfortunately the vast majority of our brothers and sisters detained under this trouble go without representation. So that is the answer. Those are the answers to your question. The lady who was sprayed, I'll keep her name confidential.
Yes.
2019. She gave birth, I believe that was February last year, February or March, I recall, 2020. So the baby is just getting to about 1 year old now.
Okay, thank you. Yes, let us keep those names confidential for now, and let the lawyers handle the case, and they will tell us what we can say and what we cannot say. I think Dr. Edmond is back. He had his hand up, then Ambazo, then Pascal. Dr. Edmond, go ahead. We lost you.
Yeah, I'm actually working at the conference at the town hall. So we will talk a little bit off camera about ways of being able to go around the best educated issue. In order to be able to firmly establish the identity of this, establish the existence of these babies and ensure that whatever happens to them, they are not actually forgotten. That's not from history. So that's one thing. I think the other thing is, since I was asked a question that was something you covered, please. I believe there was a small social media YouTube video about some two girls, probably around that age as well, the probably some school-age girls, who were apparently either there was an attempted rape or rape by the beach. I don't know whether we know about your practice. At least those images circulated on social media, those videos that circulated on social media, and those girls got their testimony. So that, one about those that are in prison, it is not something you want to think about, please let's get this information as well and document it, because that's really part of the broader picture, as Herman was saying. So yeah, so contact me and or send me the number from either Herman or Arthur, and then we can talk background. I don't want to talk here and put the something and go to establish the identity of the trans. It may be expensive, but the last thing that I wanted to also comment is that one of those who should say publicly so that finances should not be a reason why justice is not sought for these women, or that they should take their babies from them. Whatever it is, to make sure that those babies are actually kept, either a family member who I'm willing to speak that those who will be willing, and I hope some people will join me in making sure the provision made for the sustenance of those girls, of those babies. So let's take that and make sure that we at least may not be able to save everybody, but while we get some of these very pathetic situations, please all of us to dig deeper in our affairs. As a parent of girls, something like that is like a dagger in my heart, and I just don't actually know how anybody, parent or no parent, that we can actually see as this kind of egregious injustice, meted out on innocent children. You may be able to say that justice, therefore, transgression against us. But what about children? What about babies? How on earth can we even imagine this to be possible? But that's what it is. And so all of us, I just all of us, not to just sit here and wait and lament. Do the needful thing. The needful thing, first of all, is to guarantee that we will take care of these babies and their mothers. And the next needful thing would be that we will ensure that their names are actually, even if somebody were to eliminate them, let that person be, let it go, let it be clear to that person that we won't bring justice. And that justice, that day will come. The main thing that we're too small or we too inconsequential, because at the point where they have more tools, they have all the cast. But the world rotates on its axis, and sometimes somebody who is a fool who stands at midday and looks at the sun and doesn't know that very soon the night will fall, always doesn't even think about, preparing themselves for the night, but the night will fall. For that's the nature of the of life. So please just contact me. Again, permit me for writing, but I just have to. This is so rewarding.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, I mean, Dr. Edmond, I'm going to, in fact, you come up with a good idea that once we get done with the discussion, please don't go away. I'm going to join you, and I think as also somebody who's been blessed with many girls, we will pass a plate around. I think I'll join you for that, and we're going to pass a plate around for this particular.
I think I put up. I mean, this was not meant to be a fundraiser, but since Dr. Edmond brought it up, I have put the website. If anybody wants to support the legal and the babies, just go there and indicate in any donation, if it's a one-time, if it's a recurring, indicate in the notes that it's for the babies or the legal fund for the women in jail. We are focusing this. It was not meant to be a fundraiser, but a member on the floor has brought it up. Prof. Herman is supporting it. So we are calling on people to go on there and make any donation. It is free will. It is up to you. This is not a fundraiser. This is more about spotlighting the situation of these girls. So I hope that's okay by Dr. Edmond and Prof. Herman.
Oh yes, that is okay. I'll still pass the plate around now that Dr. Edmond brought it up.
Okay.
Of course, the plate ends up there, but when everybody's done talking, I think sometimes some of these things we have to react at the moment.
All right, let's go to Jojo and then Pascal. Jojo, Sorry for the long wait, but go ahead.
Yes, okay. This is a very sad situation. I would suggest that if we can get in touch with these ladies who are using their children, one, we should advise them not to give their children away to anybody whatsoever. They will also need to get pictures of those kids that will be everything even as possible. The basic is established, and they want to smuggle the child away from prisoners. They will wipe away their identity and not be able to trace those children anymore. So if women want to give out their children, they should be to a trusted family member, and we should know this family member so that we can help the family members to go as far away as possible with this baby. Very important.
Jojo, to your point, you just heard Dr. Fontaine say, even when lawyers go there, you cannot go into the prison with anything. So the only way we would ever dream of getting pictures would be bribing one of the officers there to take a picture. But then the girls may be tortured to say, who gave them a phone and stuff.
That's why I say there are certain things that we shouldn't even be talking about on the air, on social media, because it's being streamed on Facebook. Because there are people there who are using cell phone and they are doing many things with cell phone. So it's not difficult to get pictures. You need pictures to see how a child progresses in future inside there. There are people on cell phone can do that. But I think some of these things we should be talking about in the background.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's important. Yes. Let's remember that important things. Now that we have people who are working on this, Prof. Herman, Barrister Joyce, a lot of the sensitive information, if you want to share, please just reach us in the background, and let's not put everything out there. La Republique is watching this every edition of this show, of this town hall. So
regarding creating an awareness, I think we also need to take this to our parliamentarian. We need to take this to human rights organizations like Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch. We need to take it to local NGOs so that it's spread the information. We need to take this as far as people like Opman so that it's ready. Because this is evil. You can't rape a girl, a 14-year-old girl. I have a child who's 12-year-old, is a girl. I just want to get mad right now. Hear me. You can't do it because you want to hide your crime, lock up the child. This is evil. This is evil. I'll have to do everything within our power to ensure that there is justice. And this is killing them and killing them from here. You cannot go out in prison and give all your life to me. We need to do as far as we can with our parliamentarians, with our local church members, with schools and pictures.
I think we should. I just want to remind the house, the pregnant little girl in Douala, I think unless her birthday has come, she was 13. She may have turned 14 by now. She's 6 months pregnant. So we know that in three months, if she will be able to carry this pregnancy through with all the stress and the pressure on her young, tender age, she'll be having a baby in 3 months. During our civil society network, one of the women pointed out that being that young, the only way for her to have that baby would be cesarean, because her cervix area may not be mature enough to push a baby through. So those are other health complications that our children are facing at the hands of La Republique, and that's why we felt that we really need to highlight this, and bring it to the international community. So, Prof. Herman, between you and I, let's interchange the picture of the 14-year-old girl and the one pot, so that people can go there if they want to contribute, and really you can indicate that it's for the women in prison and the babies. Is this the same one?
Just to add, and to go with what Jojo said. First, Jojo, you are right, and I think we should all liaise after this and have a broader working group. We've had this information, some of this information for a while. While we were gathering more details, we were also hesitant as to when is the right time to come out with this. And we thought it was now, and it is a balance between drawing attention to them and having La Republic also pay attention to them. But we realize that La Republic, the government also knows, has started taking measures to hide them, right? And so their section has been swept many times. It took over 2 weeks to even get the barrister have access. A lot of things have changed. That makes some of what you suggested almost difficult to do, but we realized that unlike different areas, this was done consensuously to actually limit access to who goes there. I should also know, one of the things we should also know, talking about Dorothy. Dorothy was, and I'll give you a little picture of how some people got to where they were. Dorothy was actually arrested in a hospital. Apparently, somebody was being treated in a hospital in Douala that the government assumed was a restoration fighter, and they arrested everybody in that ward.
Abducted.
Yes, okay, abducted. Yes, that's not even arrested. And that is where she found herself. With the exception of the two ladies who were arrested in their kitchen because some fighters, a fighter ran and hid inside their house while they were in the kitchen and threatened them. Almost everybody else was arrested for these ladies because when they were asked, they could not produce an ID. So, for all the women have identical charges: terrorism, secession, hostility against the fatherland, and the reason for their arrest usually comes in for non-possession of national ID or person. There is only one exception, and I'm going to share this exception without the name, who has a fifth charge, and because it borders on the ridiculous. She has a fifth charge of, and this is in the military court, by the way, of witchcraft. And she is charged with providing restoration fighters with supernatural powers to beat the military. Somebody will tell me how you prove witchcraft in court short of throwing somebody in the lake with a boulder around their neck and seeing if they survive. But this is 2020 in Cameroon. So sorry about to jump back. Some of this adds some color to the situation. So I'll yield back to you, Mr. Moderator.
Okay, thank you. Let me see. We had a hand up.
Pascal.
Yeah, Pascal. Sorry, sorry for the delay. Go ahead, Pascal.
Thank you, Ato, and greetings to everyone. I think from the Jojo actually spoke most of my points. In the sense that as we make effort to create a powerful sensitization in the international community, we already have some of these communities, say institutions based in Cameroon. And one particular one which I like to suggest, because I have insights in their interest on the afflicted communities and work with young people, particularly girls and women, is the Danish Refugee Council. This council is working in many communities in Northwest, in Northern Zone and Southern Zone. So I think, I'm not sure if they're aware of this, but I would just suggest that perhaps they need to have an official letter of notification that they describe what is going on, and perhaps to also institute their handle and to get them aware of this. I have people who work within this group, and they are very concerned in terms of child as well as mother health in Southern Cameroon. So I think in their own report we can actually add a lot of collaboration in terms of what we outside and try to put out. It in terms of within as well, it's a lot of strength. Over, thank you.
Yes, Pascal, to your point, that's the idea here, that each of us can take these stories back to our different networks. In our last civil society network meeting, one of the ladies on the ground was actually assigned to speak to the Danish group you're talking about. She did mention the group, but that doesn't mean you cannot redouble by your own contacts. And we assigned her to find out from the Danish group if this is something they could take on as part of their humanitarian work. Even if not getting into the legal aspect, at least visiting them, feeding them, giving them medication and stuff like that. So we would have a feedback at our next civil society network meeting on Wednesday. But again, we can liaise with you and your contacts within the organization so that you and our contact on the ground can, sync up the information you're sharing with the Danish group. But again, the idea is for each of us to take this information and share with our networks. That's why we brought it up today, so people are informed. Yes, but let's talk after this. Do you have my contact?
No, I don't have.
All right, I'll send it to you in the chat, private.
Why don't you can also send it on to Secretariat, your contact directly, then we can follow up.
Okay, yes, Secretariat, yes. Yeah, just send to Secretariat.
Okay, no problem.
Yes. So, again, Prof. Herman, I don't know if anybody has anything else to add on this subject before we... Prof. Herman said he was going to pass it plate around. I don't know what you meant. Herman, you there?
Yes, I'm here. I was just waiting to see if I did not want to monopolize the microphone. So, I'm waiting to see. I see my brother, Dr. Edmond, is there. I think, look, as a parent, some of these things, there are many things we fight for in this struggle. There are many evils that we see in this struggle, but some of them are just unconscionable, right? To have a 13-year-old pregnant and locked up, she turned 14 in jail, is unconscionable. To have children brought out of rape by the military, live their entire lives till death in a detention facility. We know what they call a detention facility. It's essentially a dungeon. And by the way, for the case of Dorothy, from when it started making news for the past couple of weeks, since a few people started talking about it, she's been in solitary confinement. Once it actually came out that the Cameroon government has locked up a 13-year-old pregnant girl, she's been put in solitary confinement. And that tells you the sort of issues they are dealing with. We learned that for the lady who was raped, the case, nobody knew about it. She was not until the day she had to put to birth. It was a local pastor, one of those detention facilities alerted somebody in Yaoundé at the principal prison, and they got a local pastor go there and help. And it was all the baby had was what the local pastor could put together quickly on their way to the facility. As of now, in Kuma, county between Kuma, Boya, and Douala, there are about 23 women right now, and you have one pro bono lawyer who is working pro bono together. And if he had not been alerted to this, for example, the 2 minors who were taken to the military tribunal in Boya would not have been remanded back to civilian court in Kuma. And it was in finding this out that he put himself up for appearance and then raised the objection. Literally, as we were working with him and having him go through detention facility after detention facility to identify the women that were there. So I'm going to actually take my brother Dr. Edmond up on his offer, and I'm going to pass the ball around, and I personally am going to start. I'm doing this as a father of daughters. My daughters don't differ in age from the 13-year-old who is pregnant in jail without any medical attention. Several medical professionals have said there is no way a 13-year-old, she's turned 14, can safely put to bed without serious intervention early on. And I'm going to follow Dr. Edmond. I'm going to open the pot with a $200 donation straight up. I'm going to pass it to Dr. Edmond, and I'd like us to pass something around for these women. It wasn't a planned fundraiser, but I think certain things require us to also act in the moment. And this clearly is one of them. So I'm sorry, Dr. Edmond, I put you on the spot, but I'm also taking you on the offer. But I'll also open the floor up. I think let's see what we can do to get this going.
As you know, probably some of these things are best done in private, but for the sake of the public fundraiser, if it would happen on behalf of my daughters, I would give it $500 right now. I'm not sure who I should send that money to. For him, and I can send it to any one of you that has Cash App or Zelle. I can send the money right away. And I have to say that that's really nothing for what I want to do for this girls. I just can't imagine what if anybody attempts this on my daughters, what's going to happen. God probably forgive me and forgive that individual because of what I could do. This is not, that's just, there are certain things that are just not right, and we have to say so. You just have to think about it. So a 13-year-old will now have to, she's a baby, and someone's just talking about the complications about her cervix not being right enough, where baby is all completely true. But I think that beyond that, her body physiology does not even at this point, it's not even mature enough for her to have a baby. And nobody has actually even talked about the trauma. And not only that, even if you could have a baby, the biggest one is actually the trauma of knowing that you are having the baby of your arch enemy. How does that happen? Are you putting this girl in a position where she decides on whether to keep the baby or to commit murder or to commit infanticide herself? So does everybody understand what this means? And what about the parents? And this is, if nothing rewards you about this, then we really need to query our consciences ourselves and actually ask ourselves if we actually deserve that title of human being. Or we not actually allow the evil to really consume us to the point where we don't have feelings. So, again, let me just stop because the more you talk about your brand, the more you can just keep talking. Thanks.
Thank you, Doc.
We will send the contributions to the people channel through the Civil Society Network. I think the screen has the website. But if anybody with the CSO network is in the house with the WhatsApp number, please send it. I don't think I have it on me. Please, if you have the WhatsApp, Cash App. That will go to the Civil Society Network. Please, not everybody has to make their pledge public.
I don't. Wait, Prof. My WhatsApp. Okay, I don't think. Okay, wait. Hold on, Prof. Let me check the WhatsApp. Again, this was not meant to be a fundraiser. Prof.
Yes.
Let me give this to you and put it on the slide and put on the screen. DAC has offered that we can use their Cash App because we haven't set the one up for civil society. It is 302 510 5421. That is for Cash App and Zelle. 302 510 5421. And we want to especially thank DAC for stepping up and giving us access for people to make a donation so that we can help our children. Like I said earlier, let these children who are being raped and are having babies not be abstract. If you really want to understand, put your daughter's face to replace the faces of these children. If you don't have a daughter, put your son's face, put your sister's face, or your niece. What is happening to our people in La République? The line was set up. Our people are being attacked, targeted in Yaoundé and Douala. We've had a report of cases where the soldiers have gone into these homes and raped women and daughters in their houses and threatened them at gunpoint. A man who had to pay over £1 million francs just begging them not to rape his daughters. This is life. We cannot put out their names, but we have the information. But because of their own security, they are being threatened that if they speak, they will come back and finish them. And they take these threats real, you know. But they tell us just so that we understand, and they're begging the diaspora that what is going on is real. It's not some propaganda. It's not social media. It's not, you know, a posturing and empty talk. It's about us helping to end this thing. The sooner the better, because they are living in hell. If you are in southern Cameroon, you are raped and taken to jail. If you are in La République, you are raped and threatened in your own house. And we are just praying that the day will come when they will be able to come forward and give the testimony of the hell they are living in La République. So let us personalize this and help our daughters. We have just a few lawyers. Some of the lawyers we cannot mention them because La République will now try to stop them or say they are working with us or stuff. But you know, they need help. They need help. Our people are being hit with 10, 15, 20 years on the days they are taken to court and no lawyer can show up. If a lawyer had not intervened, the military tribunal that knows that it does not have jurisdiction would have sent these girls to jail. If the lawyer had not happened to intervene, these girls would have been reprimanded to jail, which is unconstitutional, but they don't know their rights. I mean, they may know, but Cameroon is a dictatorship where rights don't matter to them. So we thank those. If you want to announce your pledge, that's fine. If you don't want to announce it and you want to do a silent Prof, please. Yeah, okay, thank you. Good. Thank you. Thank you. So that's the information for Cash App Zelle. Again, Doc, we thank you very much. And remember to make your notes. Doc, were you going to say something, Edmond? I see you came back.
Yeah, no, yeah, I've just sent mine to my brother. It's unfortunate that he don't speak. So, Alem, so I've sent 500 to Alem. You'll pass it on. Yes. Again, I just want to say that the folks who are actually doing this, please let's meet at the back. We just have to make sure that we seek justice for these girls. So let's meet behind the scenes and try to figure out something. Yes. I'm just talking about because I know that any time from now I may actually be forced to work again for work. So we can go from there, but don't forget to really collect other information about the other young lady. I don't know whether Joyce actually what I have. When I did on a WhatsApp forum or the town hall forum. I don't know whether every one of you here remember those the pictures of those two girls. I've been thinking about who knows them.
I think I have one of them. One of the videos must be somewhere in my archives. I have to look at it.
I have something to say.
Go ahead, Dr. Fontaine.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Please, I'm appealing that we should be more orderly in the manner in which we handle this thing, because this is a very serious problem. We cannot have our children raped by soldiers, they're pregnant, they're in detention, they are throwing them up and down, and all these things are happening. I think that the donations that we are making here are good, but we need to come up with, we need to harmonize our approach and work on this issue in a manner that ensures continuity and follow-up. Now, what am I saying? I'm saying that we have the civil society network that has already adumbrated on this issue, but we can also, from this house, ensure that we have a more robust attention. Most of the people, if we do these contributions now, at some point in the future, we will still have to come back here to ask for money and, to ensure that things are done, in a nice way. So I would suggest that, and I would propose that we set up an ad hoc committee and let Barrister Joyce head that committee, and let it come up with terms of reference. Because right now we also have the issue of other detainees, so that in addressing this issue of these female detainees who are being maltreated, mistreated, and or whatnot, we can also include clauses that can be able to address the general problem of all our detainees, because right now we don't have lawyers. We don't have lawyers attending to all the detainees in general. And from the look of things, for detainees in Edea, Bafoussam, Yaoundé, Douala, and all the other places, we need about 38 lawyers, 38 hands in all, and that runs into a neighborhood of about £1 million francs. So that runs into the neighborhood of about £1 million francs every month. So it is important that when you look at these demands, we must create a system that is sustainable. Encourage our people to take this thing seriously, because our people at home are suffering. We cannot pretend anymore that that the issue of donation, that we are weary of donation. No. If people can donate $500, if others can donate $200, then some people can as well donate $50, they can donate $20 regularly, so that we can help our people to solve these problems, to solve their problems. Because only giving people the word of God and telling them that it is going to be well, also they need to see something being done to assure them that it is going to be well. When the people of Israel were journeying through the desert and going through hell, God gave them manna. God gave them manna as a sign that things are going to be better. So it bread can fall from the sky, and it tells you that where you're going to is a sure place. But if we who are so committed to what is going on cannot find means and ways by which we can rekindle our people's fire, their morale, and so on, then let's not just hope that if we give them only the word of God without giving them bread, things are going to, their psychology is going to improve. So please, I would move a motion that we set up a team across town hall meeting. Let us have a walkout thing, and let us stream out in groups, all the WhatsApp groups. Let people make donations. Southern Cameroonians need to take this thing, they need to personalize it. Let them personalize it and let them fight this fight. Our people are suffering, they are in prison, some are dying. We've seen many die. If this man, Patom Tangem, when he fell ill, if they had addressed his issue early enough, he would not have died. They only took him to the hospital late, because at that point the prison officials did not have any choice but to take him out, whether something was going to be done about him or not. But if we have a means of addressing this proactively and then forestalling these kind of dangerous situations, and such that when it happens, we know that we could not avoid it, then our consciences will be more at peace. So please, I'm appealing and I'm moving this motion that we should set up a committee for legal defense, a legal defense fund, so that as part of the work of this town hall and affiliate organizations, we can be more comprehensive in handling the issue of women and all the other detainees that have we have in all the dungeons in that Republic. Thank you very much.
Okay, Dr. Fontaine, thank you for that point. But we don't. If you look at our agenda, we are in the first part of this town hall, zooming in and focusing on the women and our children who will be having children. We don't want to dilute it with the bigger necessities. On the agenda, I think the third point is supporting Ground Zero operational efforts and needs. And that's where we were going to come back to the bigger issue. For now, as part of the Women's Month, we just want to give a platform to the voiceless children, 14-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 16-year-olds who are in prison, who have been taken to a military tribunal, which is just wrong. And they have never had a voice. Nobody has ever raised anything for them. Nobody has ever told their story. So please, even if we are going to set up a committee, let us spotlight them, micro. And then in the macro, when we come back to that point, we would talk about the bigger legal issues that they are all facing. The dire need for food, the dire need for medical attention, that is on the agenda, the bigger picture. This first part is just for the children. And Dr. Fontaine is right. After this, there are babies, we need to take care of them. They are feeding, there are vaccines. I don't think they have been vaccinated. Basic polio and smallpox vaccine. The normal vaccines they give to newborn babies. I don't think they have received any medical care. So that's what this is about. There is a hand up, Ma Nasta, and then I think we will move on because our next part, the paper, has another meeting. So after Ma Nasta, let's go to the paper and then we can come back to this topic as time goes on. So after Ma Nasta, we would suspend this for now and come back to it later. But in the meantime, those who want to make silent donations, please go ahead and just indicate that it's for female detainees and the babies, and that will be taken care of. Ma Nasta, go ahead.
Yes, so good evening. See, but if why more just turn the basket around one time now before we continue. And then about that bigger picture, I think I will leave the other point where I make, and when you don't finish, then we'll again more in the direction where Dr. Fontaine talk. But I don't know whether go fine, will make sense. More just use even 10 minutes. As Professor Herman opened them very well. Dr. Ubon continue. Anybody will be moved. And also people do silent. But I know the silent donation it used to really work sometimes.
I mean, if people they want to announce what they want to give, that's fine. But as town hall, we don't want to make town hall transactional. We don't want people them for start, log off because they put them in the spot. We don't want to put any man in the spot. But if somebody want to announce what them they want to give out of their free will, yes. But for go down this, call people, put them in the spot. Town hall, no one become transactional because people will just log off and then not come back thinking, say, they have been forced to do what they don't want to do, or being put in a spot, or they get their own financial concerns. So that isn't that. But if somebody want to announce
small contribution without announcing the amount, so that will do something. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moderator, 30 seconds. Like, just to piggyback and say the donations that you donate now, you kill this elephant with multiple bullets, with a lot of silver cuts, not really with one bullet. So the donations that you donate now are fungible. So if we're able to raise, let's say $10,000 for just female detainees, they're not going to sit back there and say, hey, by the way, the other people who are dying in the caves and stuff like that, nobody would be able to. It's not like a brick wall between this. It's just that in terms of donation, some people feel moved by certain aspects of it more than other aspects. There will be people who will donate for children courses and will not really think about adult courses and stuff like that. So please, as you donate, as the basket around, and piggyback on what Pinhead said, just realize that there's not whatever you do now is also helping the other people who are in detention. Thanks.
Okay. So yes, let us talk about our paper maybe for 40, because as I said, he has to leave. I think this has been on. If somebody wants to donate, you can either write the number or the website, and then we will come back to it and put it back up as soon as is done. So we would switch over and welcome Ya. Now, what Ya will be talking about, we have the Speaking with One Voice, the Southern Cameroon Crisis paper, and the whole idea of that paper was to give us a not verbatim, but a kind of guidelines or a kind of framework around which we could tell our story, and we could use this document and attach it to our petitions because it's a summary. But let what we say, if 8 million of us are going to put out the word out there, let us put out 8 million consistent stories. Some people have met their representatives. We have this habit of making our narrative very long, and then we lose them, although they are standing there and nodding and saying things, but we've already lost them. And sometimes we are all over the place. So based on feedbacks from some of the partners, and based on feedback from those who are actually professionals and have done this successfully, I think some of the groups, the Takumbangs, the Skews, and spearheaded putting together a very concise. Some people have said 3.5 pages are long, but our story is a 60-year story. And to tell a 60-year story, sometimes you can only go so concise without losing some of the very, very important information you want to put across. So, if you're there, Prof. Herman, if you want to suppress this, we'll bring it back. You're welcome. The floor is yours. And those who had opinions or sent messages, this is your opportunity if you're in the house to bring up those discussions. We welcome you again.
Thank you very much, Ato. I have a different way of starting today. I'm not going to start with a presentation or anything, but I want to have the discussion quickly, and then about the usefulness of the document if people have used it. So, and then we'll go into the document very quickly so I can move to my next meeting, which is with the CCN, and it's very important. So is there anyone who has used this document to tell our story anybody outside of the Southern Cameroon community? Please just quickly tell us what you used it for, and if you found it useful, and what kind of questions you got from your audience, from those readers. So let's do that quickly and see. So anybody in the room right now who has used this document in the past month or so since we had it done, and how did you use it? Did you find it useful? What did your audience say about it? Elena, you're not talking. You can unmute yourself instead of typing and say what you used it for. Hello?
Is she? Okay, somebody has. Elena, are you there?
Yeah, she's putting a message in the chat.
Okay. My German cousin. Can she talk? Maybe she. Okay, she has unmuted herself.
Yeah, so we want to know. Yeah, okay. Elena?
Nasta also has her hand up. I don't know if she wants to talk about the document. Nasta?
Yeah.
Yeah. I used it on the 8th of March, but since we had very short time to our kids. Work as skill in collaboration with a courage is a woman human rights group for women. And what I actually used was the information about the cases, what has been happening. For instance, the Gabu massacre and cases in Kumba, along with the link, because we have a small flyer with all this information, with the link of all these atrocities, so that the people could go and look at it by themselves. So we could only talk about what we need, our demands, what we want, and then we pick out some points from our demand section, or what we expect, how we want to get help. Since it was long, we just took some few things and summarized it, and I think the message was passed. It was a public event. We couldn't get any direct feedback, but I think the document is very useful because it makes the work easier to just take some things and put together. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Anasta. Eleanor has said that her phone is acting up, so we can't hear her. We could have gotten another perspective. Now, after our initial presentation, Ato came back to me and informed me that there were some people who had comments, and that I should return to actually take a look at the document today. I want to say that this is not going to happen too often. Just do one review. But I am pleading with you all to just focus on the facts rather than the style. So leave the style to me, we'll keep it like that. And you just base all your comments on the facts in the document. And we will go through the Word version, because I realized when you did the PDF, you sent out the wrong version. So please, from today, everybody delete the version that you have in your file. Delete it, because I too took the old version and sent it out to people. So I'm going to have to correct that. If you see on the version that we have on the screen, it says, if you scroll down a little bit, you will see that it says, following scroll up, sorry, go to the top of it. Yeah. It says, a little bit further up, following a plebiscite in 1960, the plebiscite took place in 1961. So I have the Word version, and I'm going to send to Ato the Word version. And that version says, can I use screen share Ato instead of...
Yes, okay, sorry, I didn't know you had it.
Put up the version, yeah.
Alright, go ahead.
So let me use screen share to put...
Let me make you co-host.
Yeah, so... So maybe the version that was shared was this one. I'll share you and you all see. It says, following a plebiscite in 1961 to determine whether to join Nigeria or Cameroon, so this is the most current version, and I am worried that the people who might have had comments might have seen the version that you had on the screen. So to not take time, I'm just going to read it, and everybody now, please, factual statements only on the chat. I don't know if there's anything else.
Yeah, could you zoom in a little bit and make it bigger so we could actually read? Yeah, it's very small.
All right. Okay. Are you able to see it now?
Yeah, just keep going.
Okay, a little bit more?
Yeah. Yeah,
all
more.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's...
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to take this off my screen so I can read it to you very quickly. And as I beg of you, please focus on this document, because what you received was an older version. I now realize this is the latest version, and from this point on, please delete any version that you have in your files and only save this new one that is going to come out to you at the end of this meeting. And I have 30 minutes. I would not take 30 minutes. I have 30 minutes to go to my next meeting. So let's read. The Norwegian Refugee Council for 2 consecutive years, 2019-2020, has characterized the ongoing Anglophone crisis in Cameroon as the world's most neglected conflict. A multifaceted crisis arising from the inability of the Anglophone and Francophone entities to coexist as the autonomous federated states originally agreed upon in 1961, when the UN trusteeship territory of southern Cameroon was granted independence by either joining the Federal Republic of Nigeria or La République du Cameroun. Following a plebiscite in 1961 to determine whether to join Nigeria or Cameroon, the people of southern Cameroon voted to join French Cameroon in a relationship comprising 2 federated states. The English-speaking southern Cameroon comprises 20% of the total population of the country. A similar arrangement between Senegal and Gambia, the Senegambia Confederation. In the old document we had in the 70s, but it's actually 1981 to 1989. The Senegambia Confederation was scrapped based on the fundamentally different institutional traditions of the Gambia, Anglophone, and Senegal, Francophone, even though the 2 countries, with regard to native language, religion, and ethnicity, have more in common than Cameroon. Whereas Southern Cameroon entered into a gentleman's agreement with the Republic of Cameroon, the strong relations that exist between France and its former African colonies hung over the Francophone majority, thus nipping in the bud any opportunity for Anglophone autonomy in the originally agreed federation before it had even had an opportunity to thrive. The current multifaceted crisis has evolved from the initial intention of the 80% Francophone administration of President Amadou Ahidjo and Biya to assimilate the 20% Anglophone population over the 60+ years of coexistence. Anglophones who are exceedingly passionate about their language, their Anglo-Saxon education system, traditions, and institutions such as the common law have fought to maintain them over the years to the point of shedding blood. As areas of dispute and deep-seated Anglophone grievances include politics, constitutional failure on the form of the state, administrative affairs dominated entirely by Francophones, economy, significant under-investment budgets for Anglophone areas compared to the rest of the country, culture, imposition of French language on Anglophones, including using non-English speaking Francophone teachers in Anglophone schools. Among a litany list of others, actually just a litany of others. In 1972, President Amadou Ahidjo single-handedly changed the constitution, including the name of the country, to United Republic of Cameroon, and created a more strongly centralized government. The people of southern Cameroon felt marginalized and stripped of all their autonomy. In 1984, President Paul Biya completed the assimilation his predecessor started by reverting to the original name of the 80% Francophone majority country. Further revised the constitution to institute a lifetime presidency and enforce an even stronger centralization and greater marginalization from Anglophones. Corruption increased in the country, crippling the economy, and any complaints from Anglophones were ruthlessly dealt with. For example, the use of military tribunals and harsh prison sentences was enhanced, especially among the Anglophone minority. In October 2016, English-speaking lawyers and students and teachers began peaceful demonstrations to protest underrepresentation, cultural marginalization, and systemic assimilation, and the erosion of the common law and Anglophone education system by the Francophone-dominated government. When their requests were violently suppressed by the security forces, other trade unions and civil society organizations in the Anglophone region came together and demanded a return to the federal system of government as ordained by the UN trusteeship terms of the unification of British Colony Cameroon and French Cameroon in 1961. Anglophones determined that having patiently watched their autonomy stripped away, they would maintain their Anglo-Saxon culture under any means, even death. Like the Senegambia case in the 1980s, they were ready to end Francophone domination and, if possible, have a country of their own. From October 2016 to October 2017, Bien's military, the infamous BIL, Bataillon d'Intervention Rapide, repeatedly used live ammunition, killing peaceful protesters, something that never happens in Francophone Cameroon. Horrendous photos and videos of the killing spree were widely circulated on social media. The people decided to defend themselves from the brutal army crackdown, which occasionally included the deployment of helicopter gunships. Rather than engage the people in a political dialogue on the root causes of the crisis as prescribed by the United Nations, Biya preferred to openly declare war on the Anglophone people on November 30 at the Malem airport upon his return from the Franco-African Summit in Abidjan. The regime was confident that the Anglophone ragtag self-defense forces would be eliminated in a few weeks and thus allocated no more than 3 months to the war effort with French support. As images of students tortured and raped, villages burned down with old mothers unable to flee circulated on social media, the regime met the full force of the people's passion. The government intensified military response and shut down the internet in the Anglophone regions for 94 days to hide its atrocities. Villages emptied out as soldiers looted and burned down homes, raped women and girls, and indiscriminately shot at civilians, especially young men and boys. Significant among several foreign clergymen gunned down by the military, Reverend Charles Westbrook, an American citizen. In January 2018, the political leaders of the Anglophone struggle were abducted from Abuja, Nigeria, and extradited to Yaoundé, Cameroon. Their detention in the notorious Sen and subsequently in the Condé jail, followed by arbitrary trials, life sentences, and hefty fines, further fueled the struggle. The Anglophone diaspora mobilized support for the war effort against a regime strongly determined to win militarily. The government initially issued statements that there is no Anglophone crisis, but eventually bowed to pressure from mediation by staging a grand national dialogue in Yaoundé from 30 September to 4th October 2019, during which a special status was accorded Anglophone, as Biya explained during the November 19 Mo Ibrahim Peace Forum in Paris. After failing for years to assimilate them into the dominant French culture. Even with such pretentious overtures, the killings and atrocities have intensified, and a horrendous humanitarian crisis of this most neglected conflict is now quite evident. Over 100,000 Southern Cameroonians have fled to neighboring Nigeria with numbers rising steadily as more villages are set up. Over 1 million internally displaced Southern Cameroonians have sought refuge in bushes and in urban areas around the country. Over 4,000 Southern Cameroonians have been arbitrarily arrested and incarcerated, especially young men. Over 20,000 Southern Cameroonian civilians have been killed by the military. Over 500 villages in Southern Cameroon have been burned down by the army. Schools and universities have been closed for over 4 years. Southern Cameroon has been heavily militarized since the protests began in October 2016, with underpaid military engaging in criminal activities and terrorizing civilians in thousands. More than 5,000 seriously wounded civilians from the conflict. Numerous young girls and mothers have been raped and impregnated by the military. Images of summary executions and mass burials are shared daily on social media. It is difficult to determine the exact figures of the atrocities since the government refuses to give an account and denies access to humanitarian and human rights organizations. There is evidence of security forces increasingly perpetrating extrajudicial killings and burning entire villages. On the 14th of February 2020, for example, at least 22 civilians, including 14 children, were massacred by government forces in Darbu, in the northwest region. As recently as 10th of January 2021, 9 civilians, including women and children, were massacred in Mautu, in the southwest region of the country. The security situation in the Anglophone region has continued to deteriorate while the atrocities increase. Notably are the following incidents. Number 1, Menka, 25th May 2017, over 30 killed. That is the link. Number 2, Bali, 30th May 2018, there's the link. 3, Garbu, 14th February 2020. 4, Kumba, 24 October 2020. 5, Mautu Massacre, January 13, 2021. The outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic has worsened an already deplorable situation for the affected people. Despite the government's military aggression towards civilians, Cameroon was elected in October 2018 to the Civil Rights Council for the 2019-2021 term. Following a visit to Cameroon on May 6, 2019, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights urged the government to hold accountable members of the security forces who commit serious human rights abuses. On May 13, 2019, the UN Security Council held its first area formula meeting on the humanitarian and human rights situation in Cameroon. On February 17, 2020, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres condemned the killings in Darbu and called upon the government to hold accountable those responsible. The UN Special Representatives on Children and Armed Conflict, Sexual Violence in Conflict, and Violence Against Children, as well as the Special Advisor on the Prevention of Genocide, issued a joint statement on February 21st on the deplorable human rights abuses committed against civilians in the Anglophone region of Cameroon. On June 22nd, 5 Nobel Peace Laureates, along with 2 former heads of state, other eminent persons at the Global Center for Responsibility to Protect, visited Cameroon and called upon parties to the Anglophone crisis to declare a humanitarian ceasefire amid the COVID-19 pandemic. This call has fallen on deaf ears. The following recommended: 1. Free all Southern Cameroon's political prisoners held by the PR regime. 2. Allow unfettered access to humanitarian organizations to deliver assistance to IDPs and for human rights organizations to conduct a fact-finding mission. 3. includes the ongoing Anglophone crisis on the agenda of the UN Security Council and propose a peacekeeping force for the region to ensure an end to the bloodshed and the atrocities of the year on the Anglophone population. Identify a sponsor for the negotiations between the government of Cameroon and Southern Cameroonians for a sustainable peace pathway. Thank you. So let's take a look at the chat to see whether people have put in any comments. No, not yet.
No, it's just Elena's point. I would just like to find out because okay, Hatenon has her hand up, so we'll go to Hatenon. I would just like to let people know that this document, the word, you can edit it. Some people have said we shouldn't use in the beginning. If you go to the beginning, I think the first allusion to the Anglophone crisis, the Francophone Anglophone crisis, and some people said, but I would like people to know that they are welcome to edit it. This is just a guide, a narrative guide. It is not a final document that is being sent to the UN Security Council or General Assembly. It is just something so that we are telling our story using from a common reference, right? It's like a lighthouse on top of the hill, and you can come to the hill from any direction as long as you're following that light, which sailors do at night when they're looking for the shore, right? That's why they have the lighthouse by the coast, so that sailors can just follow from any direction. So let's take Hatenon, and then we'll go to Jojo.
In 15 minutes, I'm going to have to leave, but we'll take the comments. And after you are right, please, when you are sending, if you change the document and you're sending it out, be sure to send out a PDF format. Don't send out a Word document. It will not serve our purpose. So let's start with Hatenon and then Amba Jojo.
Hatenon, go ahead. Hatenon, are you there? Okay, if Hatenon is not there, Jojo, go ahead when she comes back.
Okay, thanks a lot. I like the document. It's a very powerful document. But if we want to speak in one voice, then we should use one terminology. And so I'll go back. I remember I came back to you, Comrade Arthur, to talk about the Anglophone. So if we want to speak as one, then we should insist on using Southern Cameroons, and we should desist from using words like marginalization, corruption, Anglophones, centralization. Because when we are using those words, it means that if they solve the problem, they'll just say, okay, you are complaining about centralization. Now they want to do decentralization. So I think that's going to solve the problem.
Okay, then, Alex. Yeah, go ahead and then Alex.
Yeah, then marginalization. All these things like corruption, these are the type of arguments that unionists like Kawala are using. You say, there's a problem everywhere. But that's not the problem. The problem is about Southern Cameroons, the culture that was brought into the union. And we should not also forget to know that from the onset, their sole intention has always been to assimilate us. Remember, we voted on the 11th of February we chose them over Nigeria. But just 2 months after, when they were voting for the independence of Southern Cameroons, they voted against, which means that from their original intention have always been to assimilate us. So we should avoid those marginalization, corruption, because even if we happen to have our independence tomorrow, we will still have these problems. So let's just separate us from them. Then again, there's one thing that you didn't mention: their silence. What is really eating it up more than anything is the silence of the vast majority of the French Cameroonians. When they are killing our children, they are not saying anything. But remember one time when our people burned down the flag of La République du Cameroon in Canada, they went out into the street to protest that we are burning their flag, meaning that they value their flag more than us. Then don't forget to know they call us Nigerians, even though they are pretending to be calling us brothers now. They call us Nigerians. They call us strangers. They say to us, go back chez vous, rentrez chez vous. All these things.
Ambassador, let me just hold you right there and answer the question, because I have to see. If you look at the title says the Anglophone crisis in Cameroon, genesis, escalation, and recommendation. So the genesis is there. It's a story told over 60 years. We've made a genuine effort to be with people, but over 60 years there's been an escalation. So we cannot start from the very beginning of the narrative of our story and call ourselves whatever you want us to call ourselves. We've given a chance. Remember, there are two Cameroons, Anglophone Cameroon and Francophone Cameroon. But over the years, since the genesis of the problem when we came together, there's been a slow escalation. And that's why you should look at the title. We are narrating a story of 60 years plus. It's not a snapshot. We are not giving a snapshot. We are narrating everything. So the narrative changes, and that's why I said leave the style to me, because I need to show that we are this different. Our ethnicity, all of Cameroon, and then there's Les Anglo. You know, it's that genesis and then the escalation, because these are problems that could have solved, but the problems have escalated to the point where we are now at war. So you cannot tell the story by speaking only to this. You have to show that the escalation of the problem, and that's why the language changes and the appellation changes as we go along. Do you understand me?
Yeah, like you said, that there are two Cameroons.
Right.
So if there are two Cameroons, and you used to call the Cameroon the Republic of Cameroon and Southern Cameroon, or West Cameroon and East Cameroon, I think we should insist on that. Because first of all, most of them, another reason why I'm saying this, because some of them, they are arguing that there are also Anglophones. That is what they are saying. I speak French.
No, they cannot. We as Anglophones, we have institutions, we have a culture. You cannot speak English in Cameroon and call yourself an Anglophone. You don't believe in the Anglophone education system. You don't have the English culture inculcated in you. You are an English speaker, a Francophone who speaks English. You are an Anglophone by blood, by birth, by the earth on which, and the culture in which. Okay, and that's why I bring the Senegambia case, because it's very similar to our own. Very similar in the fact that, but even more so, Gambia and Senegal, they share religion, they share language, they speak Wolof, they share ethnicity. But just the fact that one group, the Gambians, are Anglophones by nature, they believe in their system. They were never going to accept to be dominated by the Francophones in Senegal.
Anyway,
so that is a microcosm of our own problems. But we've managed ours for a very, very, very long time. Whereas Gambia, in 8 years, they couldn't take it. They had to leave. Yeah.
Okay, let's just quickly take 1 minute. It's already 1:53, so 1:50. So you have to leave us in 10 minutes. Jojo, it's an open discussion, and I think I would also have an open mind to the suggestions being taken. I don't think any one side is lording it over another side. Let us have the discussions, and again, the document. But all is doing is explaining to us what we may not understand stylistically, why the document reads, because some people have said we should not use the word crisis, we should use the word war, because we're at war. Crisis makes it internal, and crisis minimizes the gravity of the war. But again, stylistically, she's just explaining. But I believe is also open to suggestions in modifying what needs to be modified.
You have sympathies that you get when you show the true picture. At the point where we are agreeing with our Francophone brothers, we consider them brothers, but we are demonstrating also in the document that they have not treated us as brothers. Why is it that every time there are peaceful demonstrations in Anglophone Cameroon, that they are quick to take the military? We're demonstrating about GC, we go out and shoot people. But that has never happened in Francophone Cameroon. It never happened there. They don't take guns to shoot their people, their brothers. And about the names that they call us, it's all there. But we are also appealing to sentiments of people who may not really be on our side, but who have to understand and appreciate us. But you have a Word document which gives you the story. Believe you me, if you take this document to write it, you will find that get the kind of problems that we're talking about. Okay, so we have Edmund who has had his hand up for a while, and then Harrison and Pascal. Please pose your questions quickly so I can finish up and join my colleagues on the other side.
Yes, I think you should take all the questions and then just answer in a few minutes instead of answering one at a time.
Please, yes, I will do that. I'll try to.
Yeah, for me, just a few comments, and you can take it off camera, and we can, we can chat a little bit more. I think as I look back on the story, one of the things is that from the very beginning of our independence, our people were thinking about a confederation. A lot of people were thinking about, I don't know how you can incorporate that. Number two, the fact that we are cursed by what the economists would call a lot of resources.
So you're breaking up for me now.
Yes, but somebody reading that may not really understand why they are doing that to us. It is our resources that they are after. It is not us that they are after. It is the resources and the land. So I think that we should find a way to incorporate that in the language of that you put. And then the point Jojo was making, I think it might just help to just say maybe the Southern Cameroons, aka Anglophone Cameroons, or however, so that somebody understands that. Because the other thing with the Gambia too and the Senegal, they didn't really call themselves Anglophone leagues or what, because they were already a Gambia. So name matter. So that's my third point. And then my fourth point would be that when you talk about the dialogue, the Grand National Dialogue, I think you are giving these people too much credence. I think we should say, if you want to put it in quote, the dialogue and also the spatial status, because somebody looking at that document say, oh yeah, but at least they are talking, which is exactly what they want people to be thinking. But they're not really talking to anybody. So I think putting that in quotes, or maybe making sure that is highlighted, as well as the spatial status, which is not really a spatial status, I think, apart from just making us spatial slaves. These are my comments that I wanted to make, and I don't know that you necessarily, because of your crunch, you don't really need to answer them here, but just take them and see how you can figure it out in that. But generally, the outline today is impressive.
Thank you. Let's quickly hear from Harrison and then Pascal, because he has to leave us soon. Harrison, go ahead.
Thank you so much for the wonderful work you have done to put this together. As you rightly point out, 60 years story in 3 pages, that's a lot of work you put in to get to that point. What I would like to suggest here is, when you talk of Colombia declaring the war, our situation, as you mentioned earlier in the paragraph, has so much to do with France, the France presence in the Cameroon and the rest of Africa. I would suggest that you add a sentence there that states that after the Francophone meeting in Ivory Coast of Colombia with President Emmanuel Macron, he departed and declared a war. We need to always link France in the remote control of what is going on in our region. So whoever reads the document, even at the international level, everybody says we need France to be involved in addressing this issue. So in our write-up, we should always indicate that France has always played a remote on whatever Bia does.
Okay.
Thank you.
And the last person, there's somebody else.
Pascal.
Pascal. Okay,
Yes.
Pascal.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. I think it's a good document, but I have two main observations. The first one is that we should not be the mouthpiece for the oppressor, and whatever they have done, whatever they've tried to do, it's all past. So let's try to remove this from the document. But the most important one, which I think we should find a way to really bring it out strong and clear, because this is what actually resonates to many people around the world, is that territory post-1961 was re-annexed and colonized. That thing is what and people want, and that actually means a lot to many people, because where I am based is what people are talking about. It's not about marginalization, French or English culture. When people hear the word colonization, it rings the bell. So I think that is the root of our problem, and that should be like the core in terms of whatever is coming out. And I would suggest that in that document, we actually quote the necessary United Nations resolutions that have not been fulfilled, that have not been observed. So, in the sense that whoever is in this document and their countries are part of the UN, they also find a sense of responsibility that, we belong to the UN, but we have not made sure that the UN resolutions are actually fulfilled. And this is now 60 years. So every other thing for me resolve around these roots, that the colony was annexed and recolonized. That is what resonates to most people I have talked to in all my circles. Issues of language, of culture, of common law, civil law for them is something that could be fixed. But we know that in our case it can't be fixed. And that document should not appear as though we are trying to teach Ambazonians where they are coming from. It is meant for outsiders, people who may not even have heard of anything about Southern Cameroons. And I've had that experience many, many times. What do you mean? Southern Cameroon had independence, was to join, and then this happened. How did that happen? Those are the questions I get all the time. And I think that is the public education that we want to resonate around and to keep on repeating over and over. Thank you. Over, Chair.
Thank you.
Okay. Charles Agbo has his hand up, so I'll just take his question, answer very quickly, and
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Charles. And that's the last one for now, because I have another question.
Thanks for the presentation. But I would suggest that you start with the atrocities. But that's what is happening right now. 500 villages burned. 20,000 people killed. Refugees. All those things. So now what is the outcome? Why does it result to that? Before you start going to all that long, but we have to put the qualifier right now for what is happening. Thank you.
All right. Let me start by responding to Charles Agbo. In the simple stylistic of whatever, if I start by describing atrocities, they will ask me, why did these atrocities happen? So you always start by giving an introduction or background to anything. You can't just jump like that without letting the person who is reading know. Why would anybody just take a gun and start shooting people? What would have brought you to that level? So that's it. Number two, this document is going to come to you as it is, as a Word document. Depending on where you're located, you use the language that the people there want to hear. And even the ask is going to be what you make it. So this is a document, as Atos said, it's the lighthouse. It's there for you to use it. But I will tell you, if you want to include everything, you will not have a 3.5 page book. You will have like at least a 10-page document. We've tried to bring it down to the minimum. And a way of writing, you don't just put everything in black and white. You don't do that. There are subtle things that people have to also read in between the lines. You're not calling somebody a tyrant, look at how he's done this. No. If you notice, by making that announcement at the airport, we said he came from Abidjan, from the Francophonie meeting, implying that whatever went on there, we don't know, but we won't say, but that is what happened. He came and declared war on his own supposed citizens. We are not his citizens, we know that. But you have to, it's not everything that you're going to call by its name. You've got to be subtle. You've got to be, we don't want to be aggressive also in our language. We are talking to people who we want sympathy from. Maybe they are sympathizing with when we're talking about the whatever, even the internet, it's because all of these things were going on that we know that they were hiding. The internet cutoff was done because they wanted to commit atrocities and defeat us militarily within a short period of time to hide all the atrocities from the international community. But because our people were able to resist, that internet shutdown went on for longer. They thought that 3 months, we will defeat them and then we'll run over and take all their resources and maybe they will be chained up and every southern Cameroonian will be a slave now to Francophone. Unfortunately, it didn't happen and it will never happen. So we have to be subtle in our language. You don't want to say things that you cannot defend. So you are really subtle to make sure, and that's why I said just leave the style the way it is. Because it's crafted in a way that sends the message, especially to an initial reader. You are reading it with the eye of an Anglophone, with the eye of a Southern Cameroonian, with the eye of somebody who's distressed. So you read it differently. But imagine somebody reading this document for the first time. They will be asking, really? Is that how people are treated in some part of the world? This is not possible. So you are already seeing the document with your eye, whereas you are not putting yourself in the position of the person who is reading this document for the first time. You didn't even see it. I thank you very much for your comments, and you will get the document in Word. Read it, do what you can with it, send it out, but don't send it out as a Word document. Send it out as a PDF. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, sorry you have to run. I think we could have discussed this more, and hopefully you'll be back, because as we said, we are going to be revisiting this document probably quarterly. So we've visited it. This is the first quarter, though it was published this quarter, and sometime between next quarter is April, May, June. Probably in May or June we will revisit it and update.
Okay, my last word to everybody, please delete the version of the document you have. I'm going to send this version to Ato. He will disseminate it, and this is the version in Word that we will all be using henceforth. Thank you very, very much.
Please, before you go, just make sure you drop it to Ato before you go, since we have some people requesting it, we could do.
Yes, I'm already sending it to him. Right?
All right. I'll share it immediately in the town hall forum and then from there and other places. Thank you,
Please email it to me while you are setting up, so
okay.
I can be fulfilling some of these requests in the background.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Now, thank you very much. Before we switch to our next item for today, which is just bear with me here. What's next on today's agenda? Let me bring it up. Just bear with me, please. Okay, we have supporting Ground Zero operational efforts and needs. Okay, this is where we were when Dr. Fontem had brought up the issue of looking at the larger picture. We have gotten a lot, well, let me not say a lot, you can never have enough, but we have gotten more donations coming from people who were very interested in supporting our women and the ladies. We want to make one very, very important correction on what's going on. Prof, if you want to display Dorothy's picture again, please let's get it straight, because we don't want to let anybody leave with the impression that there was some deliberate misinformation to paint the picture differently than it really is. She, from my understanding, and if anybody who knows better about the story wants to help us, basically, Comrade Ellen, are you there?
Yes, do you hear me?
Yes, please. I think you will do a better job than I can do in really setting the record straight about Dorothy. Go ahead.
Okay, no, there's not much to say. I just want to make that correction that Dorothy was not raped. And for security reasons, I would like to leave it at that. She was not raped. What we should be fighting for is the fact that she's a minor. Nobody expects a minor to have an ID card, and nobody expects a minor to be in jail. Those are the points we should be pushing for. But she wasn't raped. That part we should not talk about it.
Okay.
I'll end there.
All right, thank you. Yes, I think the one who was raped is actually in Boya. The one who was raped by the soldiers, not Dorothy.
Okay.
Yes. The one who was raped by 7 soldiers and had the baby. We cannot put out her name, but she's the one in Boya. But we know that a lot of our female detainees are being raped in jail. But as you said, Dorothy was arrested already pregnant, and she's 14. But it wasn't rape. It was, out of, people doing what they do. But thank you for that correction. It's good for the record, and I think that's one of the beauties of having the town hall, so that everything is put out there, and if there are any corrections, mistakes, everybody is aware. So we want to thank those who have donated to the special fundraiser. This was something that was done on the fly. It was raised by Dr. Edmond and Prof. Herman, and the people have gone along, and we thank you very much. Dr. Fontem, Eleanor, since you are involved in the case, Dr. Fontem had suggested setting up a group. The civil society network is doing some, but I think it's also important that you also, if you can, be involved, because this is going to be a consistent management of both funds and talking with the lawyers and following up this case and publicizing the case, internationalizing not just one but all of them, including the UN has a children's fund, and I think that is one agency that we need to bring this matter to, the UN International Children's Fund, because they are concerned about child soldiers, rape, and just the dehumanization and the abuses of minors. That's really their mission, to fight it. So I think we need to find their contact up in New York. I don't know if the headquarters is in New York or Geneva, and try to bring this to their attention. That's what they do, this kind of cases, and child soldiers. Now, having said that,
May I come in there?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Auntie Becky is in the CSO. She's representing SKIL. She should be the first person to be contacted for that. I will talk to her, but if she does not, then we'll see who else will come in. It may not be me. That said, maybe I give some premature information here. You usually comes up with campaigns. So we are coming up with a campaign, SKIL campaigning for women's and children's rights. So it's because of cases like this that we want to really start that kind of a campaign on its own. Because if you notice, each time we talk about our detainees, the focus is always the men. The women are always at the background. So that was the motivation for this campaign. And when this one again happens, it actually just pushed us to say, okay, this thing really, really, really has to start. So I'm saying it in the house that in the weeks ahead, in April, we will be launching this campaign, and we are asking Amazonians to, I don't know, do you want to send in suggestions of what you think, how you think it can go? We have this campaign that is running, Women's Campaign for Justice, Peace and Freedom. We are not going to close that one. We want to start this one because, as I said, our women and girls, they are always at the background. Nobody hears their voice. So we really want to hit this running. And we would be happy if Amazonians join us in this one.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Eleanor. We're in this together. So whatever you're launching, if there's anything.
I have my hand up.
Oh, sorry. Manasa, go ahead. I didn't see you.
Yes, go ahead, Manasa.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Go ahead. Go ahead, Manasa.
No problem. Yes, I just wanted to add that this is something that is very important, that we sit on a round table and find of course, SKU has started a campaign. CSO is trying to and also working on other aspects. So we need to coordinate our activities so that the direction is clear and so that it's less stressful for all of us. So I think we need to put all the groups that are already carrying on an initiative on a round table to map out a way how to go about it.
Thank you, Manasta. Let me just follow up. I know with Professor Fontaine already talked about the committee, and we know Barrister Joyce is working on this to lead. SKU just talked about Auntie Becky, and I didn't hear Auntie Becky. Oh, well, her hand is up, but I already wrote her name down to be on the committee. So I think as we go, if people have suggestions on who should be on that committee or round table, please just say it and I'll note it down so we can have that constituted as soon as we get done today. There's Dr. Edmond and there's Auntie Becky. And
thank you. I think following up with what Pinkham has said, I think they've trying to figure out, now that we're having this broader conversation, there will be two tracks here, right? The women's issues here, I guess, it's not just about the folks in jail. We have a group of young girls for whom La Republique has used, even older women for whom they now use, sex as an instrument of terror. And those people don't end up in jail. Their stories need to be told, because they're not really in jail, but the mental torture that can drive a lot of these people, sometimes it's actually even worse than the jail term, and than physical jail. And there's also the plight of our elderly, the women, the elderly women in the society. I know this from actually even just talking to some folks on the floor. In a war like this, the people the most vulnerable, like some of the elderlies, are the ones that will be left behind. And you may go to some villages where a lot of the young people, capable people, would have run away, but the old women would have to be left behind, and that should be put into that comprehensive. I hope senior citizen, they're taking this into account. Of course, one of the very famous first victims was Mami Api, who was burned alive. She was burned alive because the poor woman couldn't run away like the others. So this is, but I would expect that there will be two tracks to this. One, as you look at the one track that has to do with the broader issues of our incarcerated brethren, that has to go under the banner of what. On the banner of the incarcerated. That then this other track, which has to deal with women's other issues or maybe their other plight, that's not. But even though they are not incarcerated, that has to go on a separate track. yeah, so that's just a point I wanted to raise with the. I hope the folks who are actually considering that we're thinking along those lines as well.
Thank you, Prof. Dr. Edmond. Thank you, Auntie Becky. You're very much involved. I know you're at every meeting, but go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Mr. Moderator, for giving me this opportunity to say something. Yes, we the SKU, we before this campaign comes up, SKU has been doing a lot to send some basic necessities for those ladies in prison. Yaoundé, Douala, and some of the part of where we know that our lady prisoners are really in need. So this one has just come out like this. We shall sit and see who can be, because when I'm seeing things like this, I really feel as if it is happening with myself, with my children. I have girls that are more than that age, double that age even. So I am just too, my heart is bleeding. I really feel bad. So we shall sit behind and discuss, because we are, I think, 3 of us, Eleno, Mavi, and myself. We shall see who will present. Thank you for the good work too. Thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you, Auntie Becky. Let me just put this up for those who may have joined us a little bit late. Again, this is not meant to be a fundraising campaign. It was just something on the fly that people who were moved by what's happening to our girls, pregnant 14, 15, 16-year-olds in jail, some of them being raped, more of them being raped, and some stories have not been told. We need to protect them as best we can. We need to internationalize their plight, and as Ma Anastas said, let us try to work together, the different groups, and throw our weight, our full weight behind one campaign, and push it out there and raise the necessary support. This on the fly was started by Dr. Edmond and Professor Herman, and thanks to those who have donated. Please take the word out there. And Prof. Herman, do you want to post that link one more time before we go to the let me stop sharing. I think, or you know what, let me just leave this one on, and then our next segment would also go to this. So I think the next item on our agenda is supporting Ground Zero operational efforts and needs. And I think that's the larger point to which Dr. Fontaine was talking about much earlier, on the needs of our detainees, displaced people, and prisoners. Already a lot of our groups are doing what they can, and also individuals, a lot of the civil society groups. The civil society network obviously does not abrogate the identity and the work of any one group. The civil society network just brings the groups together so that we can coordinate and we are not duplicating efforts, or we are just aware. So groups are still doing what they were doing, but now we are coordinating and we know what's going on. Some of the demands are so dire that it's not even a question of duplicating. The resources are just not there. We've heard about one lawyer pro bono running around trying to rally his friends for our girls. That also happens. That is also the same case for all our detainees. A lot before, the detainees were the people reaching out to us. Now the lawyers themselves are also out campaigning. And what has happened over the last few months is that a lot of people have been sentenced, very heavy sentences, 10, 15, 20 years, because the lawyers just could not show up. They just don't have the means anymore. The COVID-19 is serious. There are not as many cases. They are not getting the kind of revenue they used to get. the feeding of our people. Again, with the COVID, a lot of people who used to donate, support them, cannot afford it just because business is not what it used to be for them. They have feeding problems, they have the legal, and then a lot of the health cases. Some of our boys too who are defending, if we take defense away, then we might as well forget this, because there is no direct pressure on the ground that La République would face anymore. They have wounded soldiers, a lot of them sick, and their families. So it's just overwhelming. And we thought it would be nice for us to come to the town hall and just remind our people, let's support our people. Whatever we can donate, whatever little we can give, whatever much we can give, recurring, even if it's one time. At this point, it's dire, it's bad. So I would like to throw that to the floor. If people can come in and say what they want to say, contribute what they want to contribute, make suggestions, give ideas on what we can do. And then we would also hear from the civil society network, the wonderful work they are doing to empower our people with just the little they have. So let's first talk about the broader picture of supporting our people, legal, medical, and nutrition. They don't want anything else. There is no luxury in this, just the basic necessities of life or their circumstances. And then we can go to the civil society, what they are already doing. So the floor is open on that subject now. There is on the screen the one pot where the civil societies are pulling resources from, and where people can go, and there is accountability which will be given. There's a quarterly report which would come out sometime in one of the town halls in April, which would cover the work they have been doing from January to March for the first quarter. So the floor is open for the discussion on our people. If anybody needs update or details, just ask questions and then we can answer what we can answer. I thank the floor. If nobody has anything to say, maybe we'll call on the civil society network, Ma Nasta or Auntie Becky or anybody, Mira, anybody who wants to give any updates. Her turn on.
While they are coming on, I was thinking about coming on, Mr. Moderator, with your permission. Let me at least thank quite a few people have joined to support Dr. Edmond, myself, and our daughters. We have right now just, I have not yet seen the website, but just the Zelle and the Cash App. We currently have, including Dr. Edmond and myself, we have $1,030. So thank you. I'm not going to embarrass the people who did so anonymously. I know them, and they are very compassionate people. Thank you.
You will clap for those people who are for help. We'll give them a hand clap.
Bravo.
I'm going to put the screen on. I'm going to split the share. So if you can, you go to the one pot. The Southern Cameroon Network.org is the one pot SCCS. If you want to do online, and if you want to do recurring, even better. If you have Cash App or Zelle and you want to send quickly, the number is there also. So what I just reported was the ones that have just gone to Cash App or Zelle. We have not yet pulled the online ones. But yeah. So if your donation wasn't noted or the amount didn't seem right based on your donation, it's because we have not yet pulled the online contributions. But thank you very much.
Yes,
So, yes, moderator, sorry for...
No, go ahead, Prof.
No, I'm done. We can now go to
yes. No, I want to... No, I just want to join my voice to yours in thanking those who have donated, and thank you, Prof. Herman and Dr. Edmond, for having initiated this fundraiser to have just sat here. We don't know what has come in directly, PayPal, this is just Cash App and Zelle. To have raised over $1,000 in under an hour or two is very, very impressive and very encouraging. This money will be strictly as indicated for our women in jail, especially the mothers and their babies, and a little, very small part of it, maybe 20%, for the lawyers to help them fight their case. And again, we are calling on those who have connections. Take this case, use it as part of the campaign when you're talking to your legislators or legislators and groups and women's groups and church groups and all these other international organizations in the campaign. This money is not part of any other funding for the feeding and the legal of the rest of the detainees and the medicine. I think the mothers will be happy to know that some money will be coming in for food for their babies, for their clothing. The pastor who had to take care of these babies out of her own resources, thank God she's a mother too, and I think she could feel it. So thank everybody. This is what we are about, and this is what this struggle is about: actionable things to help our people, not social media grandstanding and gamesmanship. That doesn't get us anywhere. This is what gets us somewhere. Man, Asta, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Yes, I will give maybe Raisa or Mabeki and Mirabel, they can say something about one part when we come to that. I wanted to contribute something to the topic that was first of all raised about actions, how we can work to help Ground Zero more. I think that's the idea. Yeah. For quite some time now in this revolution, a lot of us, a lot of people, and I know that many people are doing quite a lot of things that they don't report, they don't talk about it, they are quiet, and it's good, it's humble. But I think now it's time for us to start finding a way of assessing what is really being done. Because, for instance, we have a lot of, not just assessing, but knowing what is being done so that we can focus on other things. I'm saying this because after these last 3 months trying to work with Ground 1, Ground 0, with this common effort of the different NGOs, we noticed that a lot is not being done. We are not undermining the effort of others, but we are saying that I am trying to feel that the way we speak, that we do too little compared to what we really do. So, how do we help Ground Zero better? What can we do to really help them? We have proposed all kinds of, we have made all kinds of proposals, but it's very clear that every movement or group is hanging on what they think is best. So is it a possibility that we come again, we find a way to call everybody on the round table here in town hall? Nobody has it, because for me, I believe that nobody has the right to approach things on this revolution individually. Nobody has the right. We are just doing it because we don't have the means to punish anybody. It is a problem that concerns all of us. Nobody has the right to feel that they can approach it individually, and everybody that every time I've always tried to do something in this revolution, I've tried to find a way where we can do it as a group without anybody saying that I have a secret and nobody should. There is this word that they call classify. That for me, it is another word that we use in this revolution, either to scam or not to do anything. So I think that it's time for us to sit again and rethink if we really want to have this revolution, if we really want to have an impact on Ground Zero, all the movements, all the groups. let us, nobody has the answer, but we can sit again on the round table here in town hall and redefine how we want to help Ground Zero. Thank you, even if we are not doing it today.
Well, thank you, Mania. That's I think that that's something that can be revisited if we think that, one, we can convince these people. If we did not succeed before, we want to keep trying, and two, if we think that they have had a change of heart. What has happened these last few weeks between two of the groups is really, really despicable, appalling, childish, ignorant, and stupid, to say what I think the words that we don't want to use at this town hall, because lives are concerned. But there are some people who are determined, and for whatever reason, other Southern Cameroonians continue to give them that a credence or platform or attention or acknowledgement, you know. So I personally, I think that the bigger push should be to educate our people and rally our people, because if we keep thinking that we can change the minds of people whose sole interest is to go on social media, they gathered the money, they didn't do anything on Ground Zero, but they're using that money to pay for expensive airwaves to keep on propagating themselves. I don't know that we can stop that machine. But again,
I was thinking of groups like we have SKU, like this kind of thing that is just happening. SKU is working for the women case. We are doing this. Kaul is also having a campaign. We CSO, we are doing something. I'm not thinking about the
politicians. Okay.
They are out of my mind.
Okay.
Just the group that are still really not involved in the CSO as such, you know, but that are also still active. Yeah. We can also, if for instance a political group has a humanitarian, because I'm getting information that the IG led by Yurima, they want to start a new concept of humanitarian work with already civil society doing something, who is doing something. So what is new that they want to do? Not that anybody is stopping anybody, but how do we coordinate all these different fronts so that it makes more meaning to us? I'm not thinking again of these Chris people.
Okay.
For me,
I agree. Well, let us. I would suggest that the CSOs can discuss that in their weekly meetings on Wednesday, and then we can delegate some people to set up a bigger meeting. If the CSOs want to come to the town hall, SKU, SCAUL, HHS, humanitarian, and yes, we can do that. We can do that, and then relaunch. And the resources raised today, I think, on when the CSOs can also extend those for the campaigns and work with the other groups that are also involved with this. But you're right. I think we can discuss that on Wednesday and then agree, because we cannot solve that here now. While we're at this, let us also talk about the international campaigns, because there seems to have been a lull in the efforts for us to continue with what really started off as a very good year. On the 1st of January, the US Senate Resolution 684 was passed. People were very excited about it. Germany took up something, Canada took up something, Britain took up something, maybe not governments, but members of parliament, members of government. In France, in South Africa, we saw the Oxford Conference, we saw the address to the Canadian Parliament. There is something in the works which we will not talk about now, but there is another very powerful or very high-powered presentation which is in the works for some Southern Cameroonians to make a presentation that will be out in the next few weeks for us to rally around. But we cannot only go to webinars and seminars and conferences and not follow up. A lot of the people who are involved in this asked us to bring it up at the town hall to encourage our people wherever you are. Some of these petitions are just a click. It's just like going to check your emails. We want to appeal to our people. Please just put in the 3-5 minutes, fill out these things, send to your representatives, and just follow up. It's a very vital part of this struggle. We discussed at last town hall to start a legal front, which we will discuss again when Professor Ayangwe is here. The diplomatic front is ongoing. Our defense boys are also doing their bit. The humanitarian groups are doing their bit. Part of the diplomatic effort is not just the contacts which these people create. They create the contacts, and then it's us, the people now, to follow through or follow up on those contacts and send these petitions. So the appeal here is, if those in the diplomatic, the CDN, Comrade Eben, Comrade Effie, and all the people who are fighting, Dr. Fomunio Chris, if they have made the contacts, if they have brought this to the attention of the international community, all we have to do now is to follow up, so that it is no longer new to these people, but it is that persistent nudging and writing and talking to them. If all these people do all this work and they don't see any follow-up, they go on to the next crisis, the next organized people who are also knocking on their door. Like somebody posted in one of the forums, the US has Congress is taking up a policy for Haiti. They are doing something in Democratic Republic of Congo. They are doing something in Yemen. They are doing something in Burma for the Rohingyas. It's not that these people just when they made contacts, went to webinars and then went back home. It's because they have stayed on it. So please, let us follow up and fill these petitions. The TPS, a lot of us here have relatives, have friends, or even our own family will want to bring to the US. What this TPS does, it will not give them a visa, but it would tell us that if they can finally touch US soil, they cannot be sent back. They would have their working papers, and they would have a breather period where they can set themselves up and prepare themselves to make a case not to go back. If they are in school, I think the US has a policy where you cannot take people out of school or something and send back. If by the time their 18 months is up, if they've set themselves up and are paying taxes and have started a business and can show that they can sustain themselves, those are things that can help us keep them permanently or ask for an extension of the TPS. So these TPS things, we have a lot of families, people who are our relatives, friends, families, schoolmates who have been in this country for decades and are still in the shadows. And this TPS also has its equivalent in Europe, because I know when the Syrians and the Iraqis landed in Europe, they could not be sent back because there was a war. So even us who are in Europe, who are in Canada, we just have to look for the equivalent of these temporal protected status and ask our political leaders to put Cameroon on that list. The good thing on that list is that it has the implied recognition of the war. It has the implied recognition of the war. So finally they are saying, yes, we recognize this war, and then we can now force them to do something about the war. We can now go back to them and say, you cannot just give us TPS. We need this war to end so that our people can go back. But we know what that means. Some may not want to go back, but that is an argument to make after we get this status. Now you recognize the war, we need you to end the war, which is what they're now trying to do in Yemen, which is what they're now trying to do in the Democratic Republic of Congo, because they have acknowledged that there is a war, so they have to try and end the war. So that's the appeal, and that's what they wanted us to highlight in the town hall. So if anybody else has something to say, either on the dire need of our people, suggestions, what can we do, or the campaigns, the Magnitsky Act, the fact-finding mission, the TPS in the US, and what's going on in Europe. The floor is open. So the house is quiet. Is there nothing else to discuss? Manasta, do you want to highlight the house on what is being done by the CSOs, the good work being done in Akwa Ibom, our wounded people, the hospitals, and the assistance? Yes.
Please, may I say something? It's not related.
Okay, go ahead. Yes. Sorry, I did not understand your context.
No, what I wrote there was about the petition.
Okay.
It said it takes like 3 to 5 minutes. I said no, it's even shorter because that thing before you realize you're done signing. So I was just weighing into your point.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, thank you.
When there was something I wanted to add when just before when Ya asked about the question who used the brief that was put together. I could not talk at that point. My phone was acting up, but I think there's something that I would really like to put out to our Amba brothers and sisters. As I said, that document was used at a demonstration. Ma Anasta mentioned the fact that she and Jenny went for a demonstration. That was up north. I went for the same demonstration here down south. And what I want to say is that I am encouraging everybody to go to foreign demonstrations. Foreign means demonstrations that are not organized by Amba Landers. Now, this demonstration that we went to was a demonstration organized by a women's organization. It's an international organization. In France, I think they have Femme Courage. In Germany, we have Frauen Courage. And what I personally experienced was I don't know which word to use, but it was the best demonstration that I've ever attended in this country, despite ever, not only in this country. I've been to demonstrations like everywhere, even in the US. But to me, this one was the best because of the way it was organized. It was so well structured that I see that I know we are learning, but we've been in this thing for 4 years. We have to improve on the way we do our protests. We really, really, really have to improve on the way we do our protests. So I want to urge everybody who is here, if you have the chance, if you have the opportunity to attend a protest, or it doesn't matter, it must not be a protest, attend a demonstration, you will learn, you most probably pick something. The way these people organize their demonstrations. They are well structured, and the message, I really do not know how to put it, but I really, really urge all of us to make use of this protest. Now, one other thing that I think is very, very important is that, at least in my experience, when I went to this protest, as I said before, I printed out the brief, and guess what? There was the press. I was able to hand this this brief to the press. And then secondly, probably because this is in Germany, there are not as many blacks as they are in let me say in America, for example. But at the point of assembly, at the beginning of the protest, I was some kind of attraction, because at that moment I was the only black. I was the only black, and you could see camera people coming, even just to take the picture. just to, have some small talk, but you had them coming. So just the fact that we are dark in color is already attractive for these people to come. Secondly, when you go to this foreign protest, this is where you meet the people that we are trying to talk to. Parliamentarians, or even if not directly parliamentarians, you meet some influential people that you can pass your message to. So I'm urging us to use these opportunities. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that very, very important and educative point. I would add that sometimes we should also join. Comrade Eleno is right. We should also join people, because it's in joining them that they will join us. Yeah, 2 town halls ago, it was very short notice, and I did try to explain to them. The National TPS Alliance, for example, he had come to the town hall on a Saturday, and the demonstration was a Tuesday, and I think there were weather issues. But I have told them, when next they have a TPS protest in Washington, to give us enough notice so that we could get our people to join. It's in joining the Venezuelans and the Mexicans, and as Comrade Eleno said, all these other protests, even the Black Lives. I have enrolled in Black Lives. I have enrolled in a National Action Network, our Shapton's group. Not because, I'm also fearful as a black person in America. I don't want a white policeman to put his knee on my neck. But that is how I would also get them to talk about, our plight by joining them. So that's very true, Comrade Eleno. That is part of a campaign strategy I think we should adopt. That we should make the sacrifice, go out there for 30 minutes, just show up, and when we call them, they will show up. Yeah, thank you, Comrade Eleno. One thing I learned, for example, by talking to the people of the TPS, they actually gave me the contact of the Congress lady they are using, Congresswoman Vasquez of the 7th district in New York. She is Latino, but she is spearheading the Latino TPS. Now, I would not have known that if I had not reached out to them. So what is left for us now to do is to get their Latino representative, talk with our Black Caucus leader, Karen Bass, and that would give us an added push. So it does help to speak to other communities and interact with them. So thank you, Comrade Eleno. I think that's very important, what you brought up. Thank you for that. Thank you. So, I don't know if there's anything from the CSOs that we need to highlight.
Yeah, I think it's important we just give a brief recap of what we did the past weeks before now, and what is on our table, what is facing us at the moment. So maybe Raisa or Mabeki will say something. Mabeki was up, it is down, so maybe Raisa can talk over.
Right, okay. I would go. It's Raisa here. Thanks, Manasta. Thanks, Comrade. I would just like to greet the House and to thank all those that have actually taken the initiative to support the One Pot initiative. All the things we've done is because of their generosity, because without them, we would not be here and we wouldn't be able to do anything. So I want to appreciate them, and we want to say they are true heroes of Amber as well. So at the moment with the CSO, a lot, like Manasta was saying, definitely there has been a lot of things in this revolution where maybe we are told, or it's being done, but it's not being done per se. And one of the greatest advantages of the CSO is that because we are a group of people who pull our resources together, vetting has been a very, very important tool that we use. And therefore, because of that connection, somebody might know someone maybe on the ground around Manfi, but you do not have the resource there, but you might be able to use that resource. And I think that vetting as well, that is where most of those things came to light, because there are initiatives where we thought it's been carried out, it's been done. And people, you see in all of this, our I would say WhatsApp group, where people get up in the morning, they put 350 or 1,000 messages there that does not make sense to anybody. And you see one particular initiative coming up in all the WhatsApp forum, and people put £2 1 or $5, thinking that the money would be put together and something will happen. We realize that that has not been happening, or maybe when it happens, it did not have the effect, and the person is still in agony. That said, we are trying to coordinate the effect to make sure that we do things rightly. And as of now, we've done quite a lot. There has been some land purchase. There have been some hiring of land. The main idea is that we want to encourage our people to feed for themselves. We want to empower them. And we are trying to support initiative, I think globally, or group initiative rather than one. But again, when those one occasions come up, we make sure we deal with it. Because at the moment the land has been bought, has been hired, the community have come together, they've signed, they've exchanged the contract, and they will start farming in the coming days. And once that happens, we would provide the seed, and then they will be able to go. That alone would be able to empower maybe 40, 35 to 50 households, which is a good initiative. I think on Women's Day as well, we did like a one-off crash course where lots of the women were actually encouraged to produce soap, lotion, all of those sort of things. We are thinking of empowering them as well, so that they can feed for themselves. That said, we have an emergency. Last week, one of our brother was in a very dire condition. The arm was about to fall off. They say it's really, really bad. We've started the process, and he has been moved to a facility where he can receive better treatment. And we settle the bill at the other end, move him to that facility, and he's currently undergoing treatment. Secondly, we have our sister as well, one of the ladies. I would just there are lots of them. I will just pick the key one that we are dealing with at the moment. We have one of our sisters which suffering from breast cancer and stuff, and they needed, money to kickstart chemotherapy. The CSO have picked up that initiative, and they are going on with it. In the prisons as well, there are lots of our brothers there who really need food. They are dying, and then they need basic medical care. Some of them need glasses, and maybe those are things that if we were coordinated, we work on it, some of them will not be going blind the way they are going. So we are trying to provide those little things, and I believe that all those that have been contributing, and we are pleading with the house that more should come on board, because when we do things together, we make the work lighter. And in the coming months, we will try to provide our first quarterly report elaborating some of the things that we have done. But as I talk to you right now, I think the number of cases that we have on our table at the moment is because the funds are really, really empty. We cannot really engage because there are women in the bushes that need food. Some of them have children. We need to send nurses or doctors to go and make sure that they get some basic medical care. Some of them could not be reached. There are some that we have to move them from another location somewhere to the nearest medical facilities, and it's a dire situation. And those are the things that we are trying to do, and we cannot do it without your support and without all of us pulling our resources together. So on that note, I would like to thank everyone again and say we are doing our best, and this time around there would be result. We do not just talk, but you will see the result in black and white. And if you go to the website at some point when we've upload everything, you will be able to see it there as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Raisa, for that very good report to the people of Southern Cameroons. That's one good thing, that the money we are getting is not coming from anybody. It's not going with any strings. It is not a boast. It is not a political ambition. It is not put under the banner of any one person or any one group. It's us helping us. That's the bottom line. Nobody is asking for glory. Nobody is saying the name of who is doing what. We are just reporting that as you give us our resources, this is what we are doing with the resources. It is verifiable. Like Ma Anasta said, there is nothing here as classified. It is verifiable. You can call the people in the prisons if you want to know, if you want pictures. We will give that to you. The only reason is our people on ground zero for fear of reprisals, but still, even so, without putting it out here, you can call the women in Akwa Ibom, you can call the guys in jail, those who are going blind, for whom we had to provide glasses. All these things are verifiable. There's nothing classified. The donations we receive are not classified. So thank you, Raisa. Thank you so much for that, and thank you for the good work all the CSO groups are doing. Auntie Becky, you have your hand up. You have the floor.
Okay, thank you. Thank you again once more, Mr. Ato. Just to add to what our sister has just said, she has summarized everything. But I would also like to add that this CSO is not a group. It's not our group alone. It is for all of us. This CSO was created just because we want to avoid some double effort, because our people on the ground, when they have issues, they have problems, they will call each group, they will call this group, they will call this group, they will call this group. The NGOs, all they will support one person, even 10 groups can support. So we just wanted to make sure that there should not be double effort, so that if all money comes to one pot like this, we will know how much we are distributing to those cases, so that each person will not be giving, each one be giving, so it will be too much, in a way that people will just get that fatigue of donor fatigue. So it is a very good initiative that we have more and more cases coming, that we really need more. If at all of us were together to contribute and to handle each case, it should have been more better, because I know some of these cases like this, they will bring to us and they will bring to other groups of NGOs. These people, we will give, other people will be giving, other people will be giving. That means one case, it will make us to be, instead to take that money to solve another problem, we just give it in one particular case, which is not correct. So if all of us can come together for this one pot, we contribute, and it will be transparent in a way that anything that goes out, any case that comes, all of us will be aware. We will not go again and remove money from our NGOs to put, or individually to give. So if it is in one pot, I see that it will be really solid and it will be transparent, and this over double effort will stop, will reduce. So please, I urge all of us to be together, so that we can work together and things will be easier. Thank you. I hear you.
Thank you, Auntie Becky. Thank you very much. Thank you for that continued appeal. And thank all the groups. And the CSO remains open. Those who want to join the CSO to work, you're welcome to join the CSO to work. And we are pleading with our... Let me mute everybody. Somebody has their microphone. And those who want to take this campaign out, please share the link, share the website, share the work the CSO is doing. It is non-partisan, it is non-factional. It is not controlled by any one group or any one individual. We don't ask questions. We are helping our people. We have helped from those in detentions to displaced people, to refugees, to wounded fighters, to you name it, what we can do with what we have received. And we thank those who are making those donations. You are really impacting lives. We also thank especially those who have responded today, you know, to the situation of our daughters. At least we can give them some little comfort, like Dr. Emond said, just the trauma, being raped alone, and then finding out that you're pregnant, and what would you do with the baby, and then having the baby, and then being in jail, and then the threat of your baby being taken from you, not to your family or your mother or grandmother, where you would know that your baby is doing well, to an orphanage where you don't know. It's a lot. So thank you for those who responded today. It looks like we don't have much, but before we go, just permit me to highlight one more issue which we have here. At last town hall, we did bring up the issue of the kidnapping, and it has become a real problem. We have diagnosed, and we know for sure that there are people in the diaspora who are involved with this kidnapping. We have gotten calls, we have gotten messages. There has been a little coordination, because as our boys on the ground try to dismantle this kidnapping, those who are involved in the kidnapping are now also taking hostages to distant places, and it's not easy to negotiate. Some of them are not taking calls because they know that there is trouble coming. One of the problems we have with the calls we have received, when people call the town hall hotline, the 202 number, and report a case, we are not asking for more information about who you are and where you're calling from, to share this information with La Republique or something. It is hard for us to just give a captive and a story without saying who is talking about it, or where they are, or what conditions. We did clearly outline 9 steps to follow. So when somebody says, I'm getting a call from this number and they are harassing me, okay, we have the number of the person who is calling you. We don't have a name, and we call that number, stop harassing, or stop harassing somebody who sent a message. Maybe you're sending a message not even from the number they're harassing you from. It's hard to call somebody and say, stop harassing people in the diaspora for money, if we don't know who they are harassing, why they are harassing, and you know, we need a little bit more. So we know people are reluctant, but don't just say they kidnap a family member of mine. We don't know who you are. We don't know who the family member is. We don't know when they were kidnapped, where they were kidnapped. Give us something we can work with. We don't know if they were kidnapped in the northern zone, in the southern zone. I have an aunt of mine, this is her name. She was kidnapped and taken by some boys from... Okay, we know the name. We don't know where she was kidnapped. Is it in the northern zone? Is it in the southern zone? Is it in Manfe? Is it in Akwaya? Is it in Batibo? Is it in Kambe? We know people don't want to say who they are, but fear will not help us overcome fear. We have to trust the people we are calling. We are not hiding anything. We've put out our numbers out there. We've put out the names who we are, and we've put out what we are doing. So to call means you trust, or maybe you're just testing. But if you don't give us enough to go on, enough to work with, it does not help. A number saying you're being harassed from that number, we don't know if it's a number. What they're now doing, from what we have discovered in these few cases, they are now using dead people's information to register phones. So they call you from a number The person who had that number has either died or they know that the person has died. People are selling ID information of dead people. So they take that ID information and go and register a SIM card and they're using it. They're doing all sorts of crazy things. Some of the people in the diaspora we know are using 237 numbers and they're really in the diaspora and they're calling. We need this information to give it to the authorities in the US to follow up this thing and dismantle this international syndicate. They have a legal standing. They have asked us to bring as much information, as much evidence. We need recordings. We need names. We need hard facts that can be taken up by the authorities to end this thing and round up these people in the diaspora. We are putting the information out there so that the people in the diaspora know that we are on their tails and we are not going to stop and we are not afraid and we are going to do it. But we need our people to stop being afraid and work with us. It doesn't matter if you're in Europe. It doesn't matter if you're in Canada or in Asia. This thing is an international syndicate. The US authorities are going to work with those countries. We know some of them. We know the countries they are in. And we have told the US authorities. So let them get a clear message that this town hall is going to be the face of these people who are afraid. But please believe in us, confide in us, give us the facts. We cannot take text messages. My aunt was kidnapped in Moliko. We don't know where they've taken her to. You will not even give us her name. You will not even give us the date. We're not going to go and say a woman was kidnapped in Moliko and they don't know where they've taken her to. It doesn't make sense. Give us something we can work with. If you're in Europe and you get a call, take that number. It doesn't matter if it's a 237. We know some of the people in Europe who are using 237. Record calls. Download the app on your phone. When you get that call, record it. Send us the recorded message. We need this evidence. And we would work to dismantle this kidnapping. A lot of it is engineered from the diaspora. And we thought we should bring this up again and display this number and end this thing. If they can pick up those in the diaspora doing this thing, I guarantee you kidnapping on Ground Zero would drop significantly. It is an international syndicate. It will stop. Hatenon, your hand is up. You want to add something? Hatenon. Are you there? Okay, maybe her hand was up by now.
I've lost her. She's out of the forum.
No, I see her. She's unmuted. Her hand was up. I just lowered it. Or maybe she wasn't aware she had put her hand up. So other than that, if there is anything else to be shared before we round up, it looks like we have exhausted today's agenda. We've received a lot of messages about not making the town halls too long, which is good. So that people can attend to other things. We wanted to use at least this first quarter focused just on us, Southern Cameroonians, about issues that are important to us. Maybe next quarter we may start bringing in some of our international partners to keep the relationship and keep the education and keep the awareness going as we did early last summer. We must start doing that again. But it was a deliberate decision to at least have this first quarter of 2021 just us Southern Cameroonians discussing amongst ourselves.
Can I come and speak now?
Oh yes, we've been waiting for you.
I was planning to be called these years. I don't know what happened. Anyway, this past week, around the week of the 11th, my brother was picked up because there was activities going on, fighting going on between Mafia and Kuba. So he took the Bachibor Road and he was kidnapped with another lady by ADF. They had ADF uniform with the name saying ADF, and the guy who got him, I found out through my investigation, is called Big Number. Up till now, my brother has not been heard from. But I gave it to I've given it to AMF, they know. But I just believe that I have to put this out. The guy's name is Big Number. and he works with ADF.
All right. So we're going to send a very clear message to the ADF people, and we'll get some information from you and send to them directly. And please, as much information as you have, please send it to us, because we are trying to build up a dossier on this case. So I thank you for having the courage to bring this out. Please give us big numbers information, his contacts. We are going to talk to ADF. We are going to let them know we have spoken to them, and we are going to let the authorities know his name, his number, and the people who are affiliated with ADF. Whether they want to cooperate or not, that is their problem. But let us document these things and let us know the authorities, because at the end of the day, kidnapping for ransom is terrorism. That is what Boko Haram does. That is what Al-Shabaab does. That is what ISIS does. It is terrorism. What we are not going to let is for the ADF to sweep under the rug activities people are doing in their name, whether they order it or not, and then let us be labeled terrorists, because that is terrorism by any definition. So one thing we are doing is telling the authorities exactly the names of these groups, as we did with Red Dragon when Oliver did what he did in Lebialem on the 13th of February, so that we are not all labeled as terrorists and a group of bandits. So if ADF does not want to call big number to order, we will let the authorities know that he belongs to ADF. If you can get his real name, please give it to us and let us add to the dossier and the information about your brother. Let them know these are the cases we want. Even if we cannot release him, when the time will come when they will be investigated for all these things they are doing. I thank you for that courage.
Yeah, Mr. Moderator.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry I cannot put my hand up. I think the point the lady has raised is a critical point, and I think your response is equally important. But I would also like to say that this now means that somehow officials of the ADF have to do an investigation and debunk or to resolve the problem as it's happening. Because you remember there was a certain charger who executed a woman publicly, and the Sako IG came under fire because it was their office, it was their soldier, and they did not condemn the killing. It means they sanctioned it. So I think that groups that promote, abet, or support kidnapping should realize that they will be accused of terrorism. So it is time for people to begin to dissociate themselves from acts that give us an international body. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Fontaine. And
moderator.
Yes.
Moderator of this forum, my name is Harrison again. Thank you so much for letting me in. I am one of you, but it so happens that I don't think I can put the faces of anyone here to any previous encounter, but I'm one of you, and you can add me to your list. I am passionate about our struggle, and whatever I can do at my own small level, whatever we're trying to do in the various local communities, I will do my part. I need to leave because I have some other engagement coming up. But thank you all for the wonderful groundwork you all are doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abike.
Yes, we're here every 2 weeks, so we'll look forward to you being with us again in 2 Saturdays. Thank you.
Excuse me, let me just ask something. There is somebody that is called Mr. D4 here. Mr. D4. Yes. I don't know because he just looked like my schoolmate in those days of the 70s something and early 80s. I don't know whether he is the one. Thank you. Just fine.
This one is late 80s. This one is late 80s.
No, Mr. Ndifo, say something now.
In Victoria, in those days of Victoria. I don't know whether he's the one who can't.
He may be logged in, but not.
But I can't get his name. I can't get his name. I've seen numbers, but I cannot identify him.
He may be logged in, but not there because he's not responding. Taminam. Yeah, he's a regular in the town hall. I don't know why he's not talking now.
I don't know.
Auntie Becky, I'll link you to up.
Okay, thank you, because it seems as if he's my schoolmate, my classmate.
Okay.
I don't know. Thank you. I've never seen my classmates. I just know that they're all dead.
Yeah.
Especially for this war.
This one is a physicist.
God forbid.
Okay.
In Jesus' name, I'm telling you, I can't get any of my schoolmates, my classmates in those days. Well, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Fontaine, I don't know if Mandy will not finish your alphabet.
Doctor, this one is my own. This one is one of my classmates.
Your classmate? Which year?
Yes, he's a physicist. That's what I'm saying. He's a physicist. Late 80s.
But let him talk. But let him talk for himself now. He's there, so if he wants to tell you,
He's talking for somebody else.
That's what I don't know. Let him talk for himself, Dr. Fontaine.
For me late 70 or late 90, what he consign the Dr. Fontaine? Talk about myself.
Okay, on that humorous note, I think we can, unless somebody has something else to say, or anybody from Ground Zero who has something to say, Ground Zero, Ground One. Let me mute everybody. Alright, if somebody wants to say something, they can unmute themselves. There was some radio or TV noise in the background. So if nobody has anything else to say, I think we can call it kidnapping pushes our communities away from the struggle. We should never tolerate these criminals. Okay, yes, thank you, Comrade Pascal, in the chat. So we want to thank everybody for participating today. Okay, just 1 second. I think somebody is trying to reach me. Just 1 second before I run up. Okay, I think tomorrow we have Amber's farmers who, I don't have it ready now, for the contact of the fallen heroes. We continue to remind people, you have Dr. Amber Farmers, Dr. Zama, who has the database collecting information on the fallen people. We have the Samsoya Institute in South Africa, and we have the University of Toronto that are collecting this information. We would, the town hall is working on its website so that this information will be constant out there, and we would also post it. But Dr. Zama would have it on his show tomorrow, Amber's Farmer's Voice, on SCBC. At let me see if I can see the time here. I think it's 11 a.m. because, oh no, that's 11 a.m. my time. Let me see the Amber time. 4 p.m. Amber time tomorrow, Sunday. So gauge 4 p.m. Amber time. Tune into SCBC. Okay, thank you, Prof. Secretariat. So that's the number 413-591-8686, or email boyaamber@gmail.com. So that's for our fallen heroes, and those who are in with our boys, please extend that number to them, where we can gather this information. Anybody who is killed as a result of the war, as the University of Toronto told us, it's not only those in the line of direct fire, those who die as a result of this, whether they are in the bushes or whether they are in detention and they die as a result of being detained from as the reason for their detention applies to this struggle. Those who are refugees and maybe died because they couldn't get the proper care, they had to flee from this. All those people, please, let's document it. We really have people who do these things professionally, who know what they are doing. Let's remember what the Canadians told us. When we take pictures, let's take the aerial view and submit, and they can use Google satellite or whatever satellite feed they use to locate specific places on the ground and put the evidence that will be admissible in court. So we really have people who are working for us or working with us or assisting us in this struggle. And again, let's not forget the kidnapping. We have people at very senior levels in the US who are interested in this case and want to help us. We also want to thank those who are doing a lot of the frontline work in the diplomatic circuit. Some of them help us with these breakthroughs, and the town hall has been involved and called in to take a lead in gathering this information, because some people cannot put themselves out there, or that's not what the organizations do. But these contacts, these leads are helping. We want to thank those people, and we thank us all, Southern Cameroonians, for everything we do, and pray to God that this thing ends sooner than later. So Dr. Zama, your hand is up. Go ahead, and then we're going to round up. Dr. Zama, are you there?
Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Ajo. I just wanted to remind our people that tomorrow we have a very important program coming up on SCDC and on Facebook. We have this series on farming season coming up, and tomorrow we'll be talking about how people can make their own insecticide or pesticides. Because this is farming season. For those who are working with our people in ground 0 and ground 1, please, they should watch it so that they can help our refugees and our farmers, to be able to make their own pesticides or insecticides without the need to go out and buy anything. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dr. Zama. Thank you for everything you do to help our people. Most of our people are farmers, those in the bushes. And those in Nigeria, the CSOs have been able to lease some land, and there is a project to lease an even bigger patch of land to help our people sustain themselves, grow, and harvest, form a kind of cooperative, sell their foods, and become self-sustaining. And Amber Farmer's voice, I think, is very involved in trying to educate our women and farmers, refugees in Akwa Ibom State. So thank you, Amber Farmer's Voice, for everything you do, and we look forward to your continued support. Thank you very much. So on that note, I think I would ask for somebody to officially adjourn this edition of the Southern Cameroons International Town Hall. On the screen you would see where you can submit information on the abuses being committed. I think CDN also has their database which they presented, which is also collecting information. Thank you very much. So will somebody officially adjourn this meeting, unless somebody from ground 1 or ground 0 has something to say? We've not heard from ground 1 or ground 0. If not, just unmute yourself and adjourn the meeting, and then we can stay. Those who want to stay for Matango House, they're welcome. Would somebody officially adjourn the meeting, please?
Mr. Moderator, I move that we, this 31st edition of the Southern Cameroons Town Hall be officially adjourned.
Okay, thanks, Prof. Any secondment? Who are those voices?
Mira.
Okay, Mira, thank you so much. So thank everybody. We have heeded to the calls. We are now ending early. It's 8:25. Let's say 8:30 Amber time, 3:25. Thank everybody, and we'll be back in 2 Saturdays, which is the 3rd of April. So thank everybody, and see you on the 3rd of April. And please, if anybody has any ideas they want to bring, a subject matter, something of importance they want at the town hall, please do not hesitate. This town hall belongs to all Southern Cameroonians. Your issues are important. If you don't want your name or your face, just let us know, and we would present it at the town hall. If we need to make it a subject on the agenda, we'll make it a subject. We are interested in being the platform for all our people. That's why we are supporting our young girls who don't have a voice. We will be a voice for them. So we will be a voice for every Southern Cameroonian, irrespective of your affiliation, your age, your gender, your demographic, whatever it is. We'll be a voice for you. So don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night. God bless all of you.
Okay, Auntie Becky.
The rest of the team that you are always present all over. God should bless all of you.